Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever Drift Masters Virtual Championship. Now, the world may have stopped real drifting for a while, but it certainly hasn't stopped the action, because today we are going to start a brand new journey. My name is Dave Egan. I am joined by my good friend and colleague Ian Waddington. Ian, a brand new journey in the virtual world for Drift Masters, and we have got some special action coming up for everybody.
We certainly have, Dave, and I think it's time to answer that age-old question, is online drifting as good as real-life drifting? Well, tonight is the night that we find out.
Absolutely, and of course, if you guys are just stumbling upon this now, I'm going to let you know exactly what's going down and how it works. So, we asked the best drifters all over the world who are online and in the Drift Masters Championship for real, would they like to take part in the Ultimate Online Championship? Well, out of thousands of applicants, 96 drivers were picked from around the world, from I think as much as 40 countries, to go up against the real-life counterparts in the Drift Masters Championship. Those 96 drivers are divided across 4 rounds, with 24 of them taking part in each round against 8 superstars from the Drift Masters Championship. At the top end of business, when we get to the 4th round, we will have 4 top 8s, meaning we have a final top 32, and at the 5th round, somebody wins an incredible prize. And what that prize is, well, to drive Peter Wienisek's nearly 1,000 horsepower S15, a dream for any online drifter.
It certainly is, Dave. And you know what? Right now, I wish I had a sim and I wish I was in that competition, because what an opportunity, what a chance, and what a way to prove yourself. You know, online drifting has grown massively in the last year, and now it's time to lay it down and say it is as good as can be as the real thing.
Well, absolutely. And of course, with the technology advancing so much over the last couple of years when it comes to sim driving, the setups at home are so similar to how the real cars drive and react that these guys are going to be a real challenge for their real life counterparts. And we might even worry for some of our real life drivers adapting to the virtual world. Well, they've been practicing for months on end for this since it was announced, and everybody wants to win it. We are going to our first round, which will be, of course, a replica of the round we saw in 2020, the only round of Drift Masters, which was at Riga. But tonight we're going to have a virtual King of Riga. And Ian, all of these guys are as hungry as ever to take home that top step on the podium.
They certainly are, Dave, and this track demands nothing but respect. Just in real life, this track is high speed, full throttle, fast and flowing, all the way down into those treacherous turns and corners that we've seen multiple times, and big accidents in real life like we did in 2020, and then into that concrete circle, that full concrete ring where you have to be door on door with the rear of the car on the wall. This track holds no prisoners. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. And just like in real life, we've seen in testing, you get the rear bumper a little bit too far into that wall, or you make contact with that chase car, it's all over.
Absolutely, and to be honest, it is one of the most challenging tracks anywhere in the world. In real life, it's just as challenging in the virtual world, because it is an inch-perfect representation of the actual Drift Masters circuit, the same zones, the same clipping points, the same speed, and the same danger. What also is similar is the judges. We're having the real-life Drift Masters judges actually look at these guys in the virtual world and judge them exactly the same. This is the first time it's been as accurate online, and while we aren't going to get to the real championship for a little while yet, this is definitely going to, keep our adrenaline pumping for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, it certainly is, Dave, and I'm looking forward to it. And as you said, these judges are going to be the judges that judge our normal DMEC events. And from what we've seen in testing so far and some practice online, they are pushed to the limit. Some of these calls that they have to make are just as similar to what they are in real life. These guys don't mess around. You might get the look that online drifting isn't as good as what real life drifting is, but these guys are door on door the whole way round. Very rarely do they make a mistake, which makes judging crucial.
Absolutely, and of course, managing your aggression, it seems to be the biggest worry for a lot of these drivers. I mean, you aren't going to have a real impact with a wall, so you push that little bit harder, which means that you can make a mistake much easier. And we've watched a little bit of the testing on this, Ian. The driving has been sensational, impossible to separate guys. It's going to come down to the slightest of margins, and I'm excited. I'm pumped. We haven't been sitting beside each other like this in a long time. We may be a couple of thousand kilometers away from each other, but we're hyped and we're ready to go for the first round of this championship. I cannot wait to see, will it be the real life drifters or the virtual drifters who take home the win?
Dave, I am equally as excited, and I'm ready to kick off action. And it's my favourite track. Riga is just the perfect track for me. Fast and flowing, super dangerous, door-on-door action. And you'll know, if you've been following the Drift Masters Facebook and Instagram page, that Alan Hines, topped qualifying earlier on today. He holds a DMEC license. He hasn't yet competed in DMEC, but he holds a DMEC license and is one of our DMEC drivers. But Dave, not only that, he holds an unbelievable amount of time on a sim.
Yeah, they say, to be perfect and to be a genius at anything, you need to spend 10,000 hours. Alan Hines has probably ticked over that like an old school car a long time ago, and he has put in some serious time to get good at this. But also, think about the man that finished second in the actual King of Riga last year, Peter Wiańczek. He's been putting in the hours, and he's going to be a big contender. We know Martin Richards, another guy who's won the King of Riga championship. He's competing tonight as well, and he's been on the sim for the last year. So these guys are improving their skills day in, day out. And again, if you could take that real life, I think what's really going to be the difference maker is the real life counterparts, those Drift Masters drivers, they have been dealing with real life pressure. A lot of these virtual drivers, well, this is the biggest stage they've ever been on. Will they hold their nerve or will they crumble? We're all about to find out as we head towards the start line in a beautiful sunny day in Riga. And of course, it can be sunny, it could be any weather. Could be Alan Hines doing a buy run for his top qualifying position.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Dave. As you can see, Alan Hines tops qualifying in that top start list of top 32, and he will have a buy run. And as in real life, Alan Hines will have to fulfill a normal run around the circuit. So we'll get a little bit of an insight, Dave, into what these guys, look like on circuit and what cars they've chose, because there's no budget, Dave. You can have any car in the world that you want.
Exactly. I would have turned up in an army tank, to be honest, Ian. That's what I would have done and just driven over everybody. But they've all played it pretty safe and picked regular drift chassis, but they put their own liveries on them. They have their own setups. These cars are all tuned just like the real thing, different power setups, some running 2Js, V8s, rotaries if you want it, because they're definitely reliable in the virtual world. You can do a lot of cool stuff here that you can, it's an expression of your own dream car, and that's what these guys have created. Some of them running counterparts for their actual real cars, in the case of Connor Shanahan and some of those guys like Peter Wiańczek. But what I love to see here is Alan Hines on this first run, because he's going to show us that perfect lead run. So in drifting, obviously, you've got a leader and a chaser. The leader has to follow that perfect qualifying line. And if Alan Hines is our top qualifier, we're going to get a very good, we hope, example of what that perfect lead run looks like. And we'll get a taster of that before we head into the battles.
Exactly that, Dave. Yeah, so we are waiting to get down onto the start line to see Alan Hines put down this perfect lead line.
Yeah, he's warming his tires, and I mean that's the most incredible thing about this platform. Everything is like the real thing, so you have to warm your tires. If you go to the start line, you can't just press a button to warm them. You got to do it just like the real thing. You have no idea if you've never played these very advanced simulators. They have force feedback. I mean, I have one myself, and it will tear your arms off if you're not careful. These things are built to give you the same rebound, the same spin of the wheel, the same feel as a real set of pedals, wheel, and handbrakes. So these guys are going to feel like they're in a real car. The only thing they're missing is a little bit of the wind in their hair. So let's see if Alan Hines can get his car warmed up to the start line and get this show underway. And I've got some big battles coming up. I mean, we've got a load straight away of real-life drivers versus virtual drivers. That's what I'm looking forward to. But Alan Hines is on the line. You can see he's in his Pro Drift Academy S15. And he's up against Byron, so I think he's going to take this one, but he's got to get around the track, as you mentioned. And what I love, check the detail that the guys have put in weeks and weeks of work to make this so accurate. All of the signage, all of the the surrounds. This is just like the real thing. We were in Riga last August. This is exactly what it looked like. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, Dave, and it's almost exactly the same. Even the start line sequence is the same as what we have on the start line at Drift Master. So off the line, Alan Hines in his Pro Drift Academy S15. Nice opposite flick there. Look at that, all the way rear wheel on that yellow line, denoting the edge of the circuit. Nice transition back. Cuts through that front clipping point on throttle all the way. No messing around as Alan Hines transitions back now. Looks for that outer zone. You can see him just pop a wheel on that curb. So realistic with the wheels travelling up and down in the wheel arch. And look at that back bumper on the wall. Spoiler hanging over the back as he finishes up the run. Very tidy job. No wonder he was first place qualifier.
Absolutely, Ian. And if you're one of the other drivers in this championship and you've just watched that, I would say the one word for it is frightening, because he's come out there and absolutely slayed that run. He's inch perfect everywhere. He's been putting in practice. I saw him online on Twitch last night. He was running a little live stream for a couple of hours, just honing in that line. He wants to win here. And the only thing that stops Alan Hines a lot of the time is maybe a little bit of over-aggression in the chase position. Let's see how things go for him for the rest of this. But so far, so good. Top place qualifier. And we move on to our first battle of the year, which will see Christoph Zaziden against David Lipjak. And to be honest, these are guys that are new to us. So we're going to be basically finding out who the stars are straight away here by just their driving ability.
Yeah, we certainly are, Dave. And yeah, two unknowns to us. Never heard or seen of these guys before. These might be regulars to you if you're an online viewer of drifting, or you jump online Assetto Corsa with these guys. You might know them very well. For me and Dave, this is all very new, so it's very exciting, very interesting. As you say, Lipyak to lead, and Christoph to give chase.
Yeah, looks like Lipyak. Both guys in S14s. Not sure if that means anything, but they've gone for it. And it looks like they have very similar liveries. Does that mean they're teammates? It could be the case. It's probably more than a coincidence here that they're both running very similar liveries. But here we go. It is going to be David Lipyak in the chase position in that yellow graphic. Look at this. Right to the door he goes from the first corner. Nice snappy transition. These guys are on it right now as they head into that second part of the course. Big transition back. And as you can see, Lipyak now. Oh, he's dropped 2 wheels off the circuit. He's struggling a little bit. Great recovery, but he's spun it. And that is not what we want to see so early in the competition. He was pushing really, really hard there, and it just didn't work out.
No, it certainly didn't, David. Just like in real life, the over-aggression and that curb in the centre of the circuit catches a lot of drivers out. With this nice initiation, and straight up onto the door he goes. Very, very tidy job in chase at the moment. Nice transition, gets that job done. Very, very tidy line. This is where it all goes wrong. Transitions through the smoke, he gets himself a little bit lost, doesn't he? Could use a little bit of left foot brake there, pull the back end of that car away from that curb. Over aggression on the dive, got himself onto the wall, put himself into a spin.
Yeah, I think what's happened there, Ian, is that he's just transitioned, and from too much lock to too much lock, and the back end just didn't stick. He's coming towards that wall, maybe a little bit of panic, but you know what, he was pushing super hard there, David Lipyak, and it looks like Christoph is going to take an advantage, a big one, and now he's in the chase position where he wants to be. It definitely looks like these guys are lining up as teammates. Well, there might not be much friendship after this, because it's going to be Christoph chasing in here, and a big dive into that first corner. Can't afford to make a big mistake. He almost makes contact there. He's got to play, a little bit of calculated risk here, but look at that, not a bit. He's touching the door of David's car as they come through the second section, and look at this, much cleaner from both drivers here. Oh, and Christoph's just about holds on. He's a little bit ahead of the lead car, but he's holding on right onto the door. Incredible driving. I think that might be a very unusual cut and dry decision for our judges, because I don't think it's going to be as easy for them from here on out, but a great piece of driving from both of these guys. David definitely redeeming himself after the first run, and you can see Christoph's big dive in on that first corner. I thought there was contact just here, but he might just have got away with it. And you make contact at that kind of speed, Ian, you know yourself, it's going to unsettle a car. You might spin the lead car, and then you're back to all square. He sort of put on a show for the fans, still held his aggression, and I think he's got the job done.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dave, and it was a perfectly executed chase run. Look at this, wheel to wheel as he pushed him across the line. A little bit of rubbing, but a very, very fair chase in the end.
Yeah, so let's go to our judges for the first decision of the evening. You guys are watching in online. Say hello from where you're from in the world. Great to have you on board. Again, it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with this championship. Everyone's in even cars. It's all down to driving ability, the budgets and the grip and all that stuff in real life, which can make a massive difference. Doesn't matter here. And it is Christoph Zayden that's going through to our top 16. And that's a fair call, Ian. I think if you're even a novice fan, you'll have probably picked that one out. Spin on the first run. That's all she wrote.
Exactly that. We move it back to the start line, Dave, for the next battle. And here's a man who comes second in 2020 at the King of Riga event. It will be Peter Vincek to take on Thomas Insink. Looks like S15
Peter
to take on.
I was going to say, Peter looking very strong in practice and in testing, and obviously he's got the real world ability here, but Thomas is up against it, coming in as the underdog here. Osinski, can he take down? Imagine the upset it would be if he could take down Peter Vincek here. That would be an incredible start to this championship, but I don't think it's going to be that easy as Peter Vincek comes through the gears. And look at this, straight into the first corner they go. Thomas can't afford to let him go, and he doesn't, but it's a very aggressive move. Bit of contact through the first corner. Judges will be looking at that.
Yeah, they certainly will, Dave. Nice aggression, though. I like it. I'm into a bit of that as he shallows up the angle now and lets Vincek throw on that wide angle. Vincek drops a wheel over the curb. And now through the smoke comes Thomas as he drives.
Oh, Vincek's in the wall.
Vincek's in the wall. And Vincek's in the wall.
Big mistake for Peter Vincek there. I can't believe it. He looked like he was under such control. I'm wondering, did that bobble on the curb, Ian, that he, just before the transition, did that mess up his line, put him a little deep into the wall? We'll watch it here on the replay. Now, look, as you said, the aggression from Thomas here, he almost had a big disaster there of crashing into Peter Vincek. And of course, you know the level and caliber of the driver you're going up against. You're going to try and push. Watch Vincek's wheels here. Rear wheels. It's a little bit wide. Bounces the car. Yeah, he's on too much angle. Whips it back, and it's just annoyed the back of the car, and he's hit the wall. And when he gets in the wall, he's on the understeer, and it looks like that could be a big mistake. That's almost a 10-0. I'm not sure, but I would imagine it was enough straightening there to a big upset could be on the cards here.
Yeah, I think it could, Dave. I don't know if Vincent can come back from this unless he puts down one hell of a chase and puts Osinski under so much pressure that he can't hold his nerve. We're about to find out on the line. Osinski now to lead out Vincent. Vincent sitting with one hand out of top 32. We wait for those start lights to illuminate.
I was just about to say, and I think from Vincent's perspective here, he's got to throw caution to the wind. He's got to pull off probably the greatest chase run in virtual drift history, because look at this. Look how aggressive he is on the initiation. Not an inch between them, and this could pay off or not. Was there contact? It was definitely a big angle from Thomas Osinski there, and Vincent comes for the door again. He's going as aggressive as he can on these transitions, trying to put pressure on. And there's a bit of contact again. I'm not sure what happened, but did Vincent get too aggressive there and knock Thomas Osinski off his line, or was Thomas Osinski making an unforced error? It looked to me like it was a little unnatural what happened there. We'll have to get another look at it, but it looked to me like there may have been contact, and maybe Peter Vincent trying a little too hard, and maybe needing that fury in the real world of something bad happening if you do that, to sort of restrain himself in this. He comes in on massive aggression all the way through the run, and this is where we really want to watch Vincent coming in. Yeah, there's contact there. He hits the front wheel. And so, I mean, to me, this could be a huge upset to start this championship.
And I think you're right, Dave. I think there's only one way the judges can deem this, and it does look like the decision is in. Will Osinski go through to the top 16? Will he upset the apple cart straight away and put out one of the strongest DMEC drivers in history out of competition? It just goes to show you, it's being over-aggressive, even in the virtual world, it still makes, it happens, the mistakes still happen.
Well, we'll see what way the judges go on this one. I think, unless they've drastically watched something different, I think this could be quite predictable. I just had this amazing image, Ian, of Thomas just shouting everyone in the house, "Be quiet! I've just beat one of the best drivers in the world."
I mean, it must be so surreal, especially the situation the world's in the moment. You can't even go outside shouting to anyone because there's no one around. It's going to be one more time. So of that, I'm imagining they're saying Peter Vincent had fault for the lead run, and it looks like in the chase run there was contact, but it was excessive slowing by Thomas Osinski. Now, we didn't see it that way, but the judges are the judges, Ian. To me, that makes perfect sense if that's the way they've called it, and we would have assumed it was a little bit of front contact, but it looks to me like they've gone with an even Stevens on that, mistakes on both runs. Wow, so there we go. So back to the line they go. No fuel and tyres required, Dave. This is the virtual world, straight to the start line. We'll go.
Yeah, that's the best part. The best part of the virtual world is that we can just go straight back to the start line. To be fair, you know what? This is, again, we watch this stuff like you guys were fans, and we know a little bit, but we don't know it all. But we're also watching it from an entertainment perspective. We're not watching it from that technical perspective, and we've watched it in the past where drivers have had incidents in that area of the track, and it's gone both ways, Ian. Because again, if you're on too much angle and slowing down too much, it isn't a decel zone until you actually transition back towards the wall. So if Thomas Osinski decelerated there, which we didn't catch in their first viewing, absolutely, Vincent was at no fault there. He had nowhere to go. So we're going back at it again, and I think Peter Vincent will probably sigh in relief here that he's still in this one.
Yeah, I think both guys are going to, take a breath, hold on, and say, let's try and get the job done this time with Vincent to lead, Osinski to give chase.
I love the flames from the bonnet of Thomas Osinski's car. It's just so aggressive. I was like, that's brilliant. It amazes me. Technology that at this stage, we're all over the world. We're all separated due to the current situations, and we can still come together as a community, still have a fun night, still have some entertainment, still have some rocking battles. And here we have another one heading off the line as Peter Vincent in the lead position. It looks like Thomas Osinski's got to kind of manage that aggression a little bit here, but again, he's coming in absolutely flying into that first corner. He's dropped a little bit of pace there, cut the course a little bit, and now it's to start to reel in Peter Vincent. He's got to tidy this up from here, stronger in his first set of battles, and Osinski again missing some outer zones, and Peter Vincent doesn't make the same effort. And Osinski goes in the wall this time. You can see it happening, a late dive, and just couldn't slow the front end of the car enough. Does get around the track though. I don't think it's going to be a 10-0, but it will be a deduction.
Yeah, certainly will be, Dave. And you can see the caution there coming into play from Thomas Osinski as they come off the line. You can see Vincent, as always, laying down that incredible lead line. Osinski there goes to make a dive, bails out of it, gives him some room to manoeuvre, and then just doesn't push as hard as we did last time. Again, on this transition, backs out, gives him the room to manoeuvre, and then this is where it all goes wrong. He makes a late transition, tries to dive, brakes because he can see Vincek slowing, and then puts himself into the wall.
Yeah, that is a decel area of the track, and that's actually what caught Thomas Osinski out in the first set of battles, was that he actually decelerated in a place where you should be accelerating. So that's what cost him, the contact with Vincek in the second half of the first battle. And right now, again, he just couldn't decel enough and adapt to Vincek's decel there. So now Peter Vincek is in the chase position. He was super aggressive the first time around. Osinski shouldn't be slowing in that area of the track. He'll have known that, and that's probably why the judges have gone that way. So we're going to see a tidier run here, I think. Oh, and Osinski, a little bit of a stall there coming off the line. But Vincek has to kind of back off and go back on it again. And now we've got another issue. False start. I think we've got a false start.
For a false start there.
Yeah, I thought we were doing quarter-mile drag there for a moment. And we're going back to the start line. Again, it's just like real life. We have got real marshals, real track controllers. We have real judges. So for the first time in the virtual world, the guys who do it in real life are controlling it in the virtual world, which means they've got the experience, Ian. They know what they're looking at.
They certainly do, Dave. And these guys, like you say, they've done it multiple times in real life situations, so they know what they're looking at. So we await that official Drift Masters start line to illuminate. It will be Osinski to lead, Vincek to give chase. Now can Osinski put down that perfect lead? Can Vincek hold back a little bit? Nice flick initiation from Vincek. Look at the shallow angle as he puts the front wheel to the door of Osinski's BMW, gives him the room to manoeuvre through the middle of the track. Oh, left foot brake is going to go wide, and that upsets Vincek. Vincek once again takes a step back, allows him to transition. Oh, and now Vincek pushes Osinski. He understeers into the wall. What's going on tonight, Dave?
I mean, the judges thought they had a free and easy winter, and now they're back in the midst of it again. To me, in the replay, check this out. I'm just going to go out there and say it. If I'm going by the pattern we're seeing tonight, does Osinski slow too much again on that outer zone before the transition? You'll see the brake lights on. Does he slow? Does it cause Vincek to sort of hit the back of him? I'm not saying that's the case, but have a look here. When he comes in here, see the brake lights just go on. Transitions back and Vincek hits the back end. I don't know. I'm not sure what way the judges are going to call that. It's a bit of both. Maybe a little bit too much decel and a little bit too much aggression at the same time.
It was messy, that's for sure. It was messy. So out to the judges deem this one. Who is going to take it through to the top 16? I'm still wavering in the way that Vincek hit him. I still think that Vincek was a little bit over aggressive on the transition.
You think so? Yeah, I mean, well,
yeah.
The good thing is we don't have to decide it, Ian.
No, Dave. No, I'm still not envious. I'm still not envious of that judging job.
I think we've been doing well to avoid that judging job for a long time. We get to be like the best buds of everybody. We're like, hey, everyone give it a go. Well, we don't have to eliminate anyone.
No,
so
that's right.
The judges are going to have a discussion on this. I think the best thing is they are, if you think about our judges, one's in the Czech Republic, one's in Ireland, like having that conversation is just mind-blowing to me how far technology has come. To have a judging usually they're sitting, a foot apart from each other, and here they are, in all corners of the globe, having a discussion about a championship that's happening in the virtual world with guys from all over the world. It's really cool. And I mean, we talked about it before, Ian, there's never been a world championship of drifting, and this is the first sort of one because, it's not a budgetary thing. It's not something that's travel related. It's something that anyone from any part of the globe can get involved and come along and take part in and prove your worth and make a name for yourself. I mean, we're here talking about Thomas Osinski alongside Peter Vincek. What a night for him just to be in the conversation.
Exactly that, Dave. And I think that, it makes it affordable for people that, haven't got the money to go out and build one of these cars. These cars, these pro level cars that you can see Peter Vincek in and James Dean and the likes of all of the drivers that drive in Drift Masters, they are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of euros. The team, the whole crew, the whole setup costs a lot of money. So this is, an opportunity to put yourself in the same track at the same situation for a quarter of the cost.
Absolutely. And then we're going to have to wait a little while longer because those judges are still deliberating this one.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be an easy decision at all.
Let's see which way the judges go. Hard to know. I mean, again, as I said, it's going to come down to that collision, I think, on the second run. And there you have it. Thomas Osinski, Ian, you were right for the first time. It must be virtual world you're only right in because you're usually very wrong when it comes to the real world. But I think that is it. Peter Vincek being too aggressive in the chase position, not allowing the lead car enough time to slow. He did do a little bit of left foot braking, but it was deemed as his car wasn't slowing dramatically. And a massive upset, Ian. Well, I mean, You know what? You wouldn't want to be a bookie in this one because you're going to lose a lot of money. So at the moment, we have got Peter Wiancek bowing out at top 32 level, and it is going to be Thomas Osinski, Dream Street, going through to the top 16, and he will be absolutely delighted with this.
He certainly will be. I mean, yeah, what an upset, and yeah, just over aggressive on that transition. We move it along to the next battle of the day. This one, you know, every time I see these little yellow G76 balls in the line, it puts a smile on my face. It will be Christian Petrov to lead out Adam Zalewski. Dave, this is going to be a good one.
Yeah, Adam Zalewski, no stranger to this track, no stranger to this car, but this is his first time competing at this level on the virtual world, and he is going up against Christian Petrov. Petrov has got out of the gate very fast here. Adam Zalewski left a little bit napping, and Petrov looking good on the left foot brake through that first corner. A little bit of wobble of the front wheels. Now Zalewski's coming very, very hard after him. He knows he's left a little gap on that first corner, and Zalewski's got to do a little bit of work here as they transition back to this. Oh, big angle from Petrov, slowing the car down, leaving Zalewski a little bit of room to get back into this. And just towards the end of the run, Zalewski getting there, but not as close as we've seen some of the other runs. I think it all started from that jump off the line, that it just looked like Zalewski was spinning wheels and he just couldn't get the traction down.
I think you're absolutely right there, Dave. You can see, but look at that big dive on the initiation from Zalewski. Just still couldn't find the pace to keep up with Petrov there. Petrov put to floor, left foot braking all the way through the circuit. Very, very nice lead line. Dials on big angle on that transition, sets himself up perfectly for the outside wall ride. That opens the door for Zalewski to get there. Zalewski still not really door on door from what we've seen so far.
That is, I'm telling you, these guys from the virtual drifting world have been putting in the time, the practice. They want to make a name for themselves, and we've already watched Thomas Osinski take down Peter Wiancek. Could Christian Petrov take down Adam Zalewski? But Zalewski will be in the lead position here. Petrov in the chase. He's got the pace. He knows he's got a quick car. He's smoking tires off the start line. Zalewski again smoking tires, allowing Petrov that little bit of chance to get in, but Petrov dives a little bit late. Zalewski's offline, back on it again. A little bit messy through that first corner. Big angle from Petrov, but he holds it just about, but he's had to back away because of it. It's a little bit scrappy. And Zalewski now looking much more confident in that lead position. Petrov's got to make a move here through this last corner, and he does try and get up onto the door. Almost gets there. That's a tough one to call, Ian. Tough one.
Again, another very tough goal there. You're right, you can see Zalewski smoking tyres as he goes down to that initiation. Needed the grip to try and accelerate from Petrov. Falls out of that outside zone, then drops back onto that yellow line. Petrov doesn't really dial onto the door. Little tag of the rear wheel there, just backs himself out of it for the transition. And you can see Zalewski shallowing up the angle, tries to escape Petrov. Petrov, though, does everything he can. I think he's got better proximity on this final corner than what
I think
had.
if you're putting lead to lead, chase to chase, I think you're going to say Petrov had the better lead run. And in the chase runs, there was bits of genius from both drivers, but I don't know. I'm leaning a little bit towards Petrov here. I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking that Adam Zalewski missing that outside zone in the first corner for Zalewski, that was probably maybe enough. So judges are logging in their scores now. I can hear little beeps in my background, so I know that's when they're logging in the scores. So I can imagine those scores are dropping in now, and we're waiting for this. And I mean, will we have another massive upset? I mean, think about it. We were going to have, we could have had, in any other normal circumstance, Peter Wiancek, Adam Zalewski. Now it looks like we're going to have Thomas Osinski and Christian Petrov. There you go. You cannot write it.
There you go.
We're making stars. And you know what I love about it? We get to see brand new cool cars all the time, because that livery on Christian Petrov's car is awesome. It's nice to see these guys be a little creative with their designs as well, and not only creative with their designs, but backing it up with their driving.
Exactly, Dave. It just goes to show, like I mentioned earlier, some of these guys, people never have heard of them before. Tonight, they're making a name for themselves, and they're putting it all out there. And is this the start of their career? Could this be the beginning of their real life drift career?
Yeah, what did you do at the weekend? Well, I went to Riga and I beat, some of the best drivers in the world. Oh, I thought we couldn't travel. Well, technically I didn't go to Riga, but I kind of did go to Riga and I beat some of the best drivers in the world. That's what these guys are going to be saying. And to be honest, I think they take it very, very, they take it super seriously, because this is a big chance to make a name for yourself online, maybe transfer that to the real world down the line. But hey, one of these guys is going to be driving Peter Wiancek's car. That's the crazy thing about it. They're going to be doing it for real. So they're hungry for it. I can see it in the driving. They're also maybe sometimes a little bit more restrained, I think, than the real-life counterparts, who are maybe not used to having that gung-ho attitude, that it doesn't cost them a car or a crash in the real world. So managing that restraint, managing that speed, that's going to be a little bit difficult. But we have got some big heavy hitters from the Drift Masters European Championships, still left in the competition to sort of hold down the fort. But right now, it looks like the Drift Masters Virtual Championship drivers are taking first blood.
Yeah, exactly, Dave. And, you know, I'm quite surprised at the moment. I'm not going to lie. I'm quite surprised because from what we've seen in some testing, these guys have been incredible. Our Drift Masters drivers have been absolutely on point. And to see them get taken down by some of these guys is just mind-blowing. And, you know, as we mentioned earlier, I've tried to drive this track on a sim before, and I crashed, Dave, a lot. It's not easy.
It's not realistic that you would crash in the virtual world just like the real world. Ian, I get it. I get what you're saying. We would both crash very badly on this track in the real world, and when we get on the sim, it's exactly the same. That's how realistic it is. We're both terrible on and off, and you know, that's the thing. It's not easy. And you know what I found when I jumped on the sims, and I think a lot of guys will probably back me up on this. It's not easy to get into the flow of things. It is difficult. It's just as difficult as the real thing. And then, you know, when we move on to these battles where we've got newcomers like Jermaine Clant and Lucas Tazemski, these guys, you know, they can make big names for themselves here. We've got two virtual drifters going head to head. We've got Jeremy Clant in the BMW, looks like E46. He's going against Lucas Tazemski. He's in an S14. Let's see who's going to take it, Ian.
Yeah, Tazemski's the lead out Clap right now as they come off the start line. Oh, once again, smoking wheels. You can see Clap very cautious there on that flick initiation from Jeremy. Slows the wheels down. You can see the wheel speed slows down those markers on the wheels, just like we do in real life. He comes absolutely flying through the centre part of the circuit. Now Clap puts foot to throttle. Big angle transition, little dab of the foot brake. But Clap onto it as Tazemski gets himself up into the wall. Look at this. As Clap edges the front end of that BMW onto the front wheel. Incredible stuff.
That was a very clean lead and chase. That was probably the cleanest lead and chase we've watched, you know, for the whole competition so far. You know, Jeremy doing a good job. He hung back a little bit, stayed on the shallower line just to have that proximity, but he was timing his transitions perfectly. Watch this. He waits for the lead car to move. He moves almost identically. You know, not a huge amount of slowing from either driver. Very clean runs. Put on a show, Ian. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I like this at the end. Just a little stamp of aggression. Puts the front wheel to the front wheel and says, that is me right there. I mean, this is going to be good. I can't wait to see these guys look around. It'll be Tazemski to chase down Clap. That purple E36 BMW.
Is it an E36? Oh, it's an E36, not an E46.
E36, yeah, E36.
Yeah. I was getting a little confused with the angel eyes there, you know?
Yeah, just out there to throw you, Dave. That's what
it was. I was trying to... People at home screaming probably up their screen saying it's an E36, Dave. Come on. Well, let's see if that E36 makes it through to the top 16. We switch him around. It's going to be Jeremy Clat as the lead driver going up against Lucas Tazemski in the chase. Tazemski taking a wide line here and giving himself a little bit of room. And could have been a little bit wider there, Clat, but he was pretty clean and tidy through there. It looks like Tazemski now starting to make a move for the center section. Nice transition. Almost contact there. Took a risk. Paid off. He's got one more risk to take. Can he go onto the door here through the last section? Look at it, on and off the throttle. I love that view. There we go. Straight across the line. Boom. Another tough decision. I am so happy I am not a judge of this competition because it looks to me like everybody came to play today.
Yeah, it certainly did, Dave. This was a very clean lead and chase. The only thing you can take away from that is Jeremy came out of that first outside zone after the initiation. Apart from that, it was a very tidy job. Filled all the rest of the outside zones. Very nicely done here. He slows himself down, gets himself onto the wall. And Tazemski does a very tidy job. Look at this, puts some aggression into it and throws that wheel to wheel. Almost gets himself mixed up there, but
yeah, it's so realistic. I'm watching this and you know, bar the sun beating down on my arms and the rubber flying in my face, it feels just like we're there in Riga, which is amazing. As a very famous computer game company used to say in the past, if it's in the game, it's in the game. And this is incredibly realistic here of what we're seeing. You got their own custom cars, custom liveries, custom wheels, custom everything. Design your own car, practice, come to the event, very similar. And you know, get your practice in and then go through to the battles. And if you're Lucas Tazemski, go through to the top 16. So Tazemski moves on. There you have it. Another driver moving through. And Jeremy Clat, I'm going to miss his very, very beautiful purple E36. Maybe I'm changing it, like an E36 a lot these days. And look, I've been looking forward to this. It's Craig Fulgham in a Corvette. I'm a fan straight away. He's taking on Ludwig Vonka. He's in the S15. We got a bit of Japanese, 2JZ against a bit of American muscle. A little bit of mix-up here in car styles, Ian. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, certainly is. We haven't seen a Corvette yet, and this is going to be a nice change. Oh, I've stalled off the line there. for Fulham, as he now finds himself. Vonka has to hold back. Oh, and let's Fulham pull away massively. This could really upset things as Vonka drops down the inside of the circuit. Judge, you're going to be watching that one. Big separation now as Fulham puts foot to floor and that white Corvette transitions into the outside zone. You can see Vonka now shallowing up, nosing the edge of that S15 into the door of the Corvette. Up to the wall goes Fulham though, puts the back end of that Corvette all the way around the wall as Vonka just about gets there.
Yeah, it just seemed to fall apart a little bit at the start. Fulham just came out of the line. Looked like I'm going to say a missed gear. It's impossible almost to miss a gear in the virtual world, but it looked like Vanka gave him too much room. He had to dip up wheel in that little white lines there, as you see on the inside of the first corner. Judges will be deducting for that, but then they might weigh off on whatever happened at the start line. We're not sure. But it looked like Craig did a great job in the lead position, nice and fluid in that Corvette, sticks the back end of the car to the wall, really precise the whole way around. And to be fair, Vanka's right back in it towards the end. He caught up through the lap. So still all to play for in the second half of this one.
It certainly is, Dave. We'll swap them around. Vanka to the lead. Craig Fulham to give chase. Hopefully no mess-ups off the line this time. Fulham or Vanka. As we await that start line light to light up. And here we go. Vanka's chance for a little bit of redemption. As he comes through the chicane. Oh, he brakes.
Full start.
Full start.
Now we have the World Virtual Reversing Championship. Parallel parking.
I wonder if these guys are struggling to see that start line. I wonder if that is the light.
Yeah.
I wonder if that may be an issue.
That could be an issue. I mean, it is, as I said, it's like the real thing. It is tough to keep your eye on. Looks like we got a clean start here, though. As Craig Fulham now in the chase position in the Corvette and into that first corner they go. Nice initiation from both drivers. Vanka getting nice out into that outer zone. Craig Fulham on the front brake trying to keep himself from running over the lead S15 there. A little bit of separation now. Here we go. Can we get a little bit of proximity in here? Big angle from Vanka. You can see the flames popping underneath the car. Oh, and Craig Fulham almost causes an accident but holds it on the front brake. Excellent job there in the Corvette of not making contact. And, you know, on paper, it looks to me like Craig Fulham looks pretty strong. However, we'll have a look at that start on the first run. I'm sure the judges will analyse that as well. And yeah, you're dropping a little bit out there, Vanka, as you can see. Not quite as wide as we'd like to see him on that first corner. But a good job through the rest of the course.
Yeah, very nice job through the rest of the course. It was only that one part really that made you know, any sort of standout error. You can see Fulham there almost makes a big accident in that outside wall. Makes a nice dive up to the side. Very tidy chase run there from Craig Fulham.
Yeah, so let's see which way the judges go. I mean, you know, we can watch it one way, and then obviously we're not watching it from all of the technical aspects, but a good idea maybe which way this one is going to go. And there it is. Craig Fulham in the Corvette goes through to the top 16. And unfortunately for Ludwig Vanka, he will be out of the competition. Out of the competition, he just disappeared into thin air. That's the great thing about the virtual championship, Ian. It is the quickest championship to pack up your car from ever. You just press a button.
He's home in seconds.
He's home in seconds. He's just thrown the headphones across the room. He's having lunch. And that's the best thing. You don't have to spend like 3 hours packing up. We're on to the next battle. Another real-life driver against another real-life driver. Tor Arne Kavia going up against Pavel Korpelinski. Am I in the real world? Am I in the virtual world? Ian, who matters? At this point, we've got two of the biggest heavyweights in European drifting going head-to-head here in the top 32. It will be Kavia to chase in Korpelinski, two guys that have hit podiums in the real world. Can they hit the podium tonight?
Well, let's hope so as they come firing down Korpelinski on a wide line. Look at Kavia. Kavia dives onto the side of Korpelinski's BMW. Kavia, just like in the real situation, loves to get up close and personal. What a transition from Tor Arne Kavia as he gets back up onto the side of that BMW. Korpelinski always slows down. You can see the brake lights illuminating. Kavia slows that car down and holds himself off. Finds the side once again as they come across the line.
Wow, what a battle from two absolute heavyweights of European drifting. Pavel Korpelinski from Poland, Tor Arne Kavia from Norway. We call him the Norwegian sledgehammer because this man does do a lot of damage when he goes in that chase position. He's had to back out a few times on this run to avoid an accident, but it was entertainment from start to finish. Korpelinski, one of the best drivers I've ever watched in the world, in my opinion, and a super driver in the lead position in that BMW. So these cars, similar to the cars they run in the real world, except Kavia runs a different livery, but he does run a PS. When he runs a 180, is that a PS13? It is a PS13. I'm talking nonsense because he would drive a 180, but very similar. It could have. It looks like it has a little supercharger sticking out of the bonnet there. It could be very similar.
Yeah, it's a replica to his original DMEC car. When they're off the line, it will be now Kvyat to lead, Korpolinski to give chase. Korpolinski giving him the room, nice little opposite flick across the track. Both guys out of the outside zone though, as Kvyat makes a small error there. Look at the transition for Korpolinski though, as Korpolinski now finds the side at PS13. And very tidy job done there from Korpolinski. He has to be very careful now not to make an error. Look at the angle. Oh, Kvyat off the wall. Kvyat struggling to find the outside of the wall as they come across the line. Korpolinski door to door.
I think Kvyat over-rotated at the transition. That's just my layman's view of it. I think he transitioned. It happened very similar to Peter Wieńczek. He got up on the curb before the transition. It unsettled the car. He had a big lock-to-lock transition. I think he just went a little bit too much angle. Watch this. He hops the curb, and when he transitions back here, I think he's on just a little bit too much angle there. Has to slow the front end of the car down dramatically to get back on it again. And Korpolinski does well to deal with it. I mean, Korpolinski looking like a machine out there.
Yeah, Korpolinski absolutely dialed. Just like in real life, that guy is an incredible driver. And to be honest, Dave, I think he's just earned himself a spot in the top 16.
But what do we know, Ian? The judges will decide it. And, we're only watching it kind of, I suppose, whatever jumps out to us. But they'll be looking at every clipping zone, every outer zone. And they are in agreement. Paweł Korpolinski goes through to our top 16. So two real-life drivers, Alan Hines and Paweł Korpolinski, going through to the top 16. And we've got about 4, 5, 6 virtual guys in there. So it's starting to heat up.
It certainly is. We move it back to the line where we see Pontus Jakobsen take on Ondrej Sepka. And I'm trying to work out what Ondrej is driving.
I think it's an M2. I think it's an M2. And
it's an M2.
And an FD or X7. I think so. I will be quoted on this. I'm a big fan of
the RX-7.
Yeah, and the great thing is you can have one practically in the virtual world, because you can run the rotary and it doesn't blow up, it doesn't overheat. And unless the game is that realistic that they're unreliable in the game as well, I'm not sure. But it is going to be the FD RX-7 of Pontus Jakobsen in the lead. A big gap already against Ondrej Sepka. Ondrej Sepka now in the chase position in that M2, and he's got to get it close as he can. But he's not closing the gap, Ian. He's got to do a little bit of work here. A very late dive there to try and get back into this one. He's got to make a risky move here again, and he does. Nice transition from Sepka as he gets himself back into the mix. A little bit of left foot braking from both drivers as they run the rear bumpers on that wall. Ended very, very strong for both drivers. Just a little bit of separation on the first half of the run.
Yeah, a little bit of separation here, as you said, Dave, after the initiation. And you can see Sepka just not really getting there. As, Jakobsen just down an absolutely lovely lead line. And I've just sat back and watching Jakobsen's lead. Look at this. It completely fulfills the outside zone. Very nice transitions. Dab of the foot brake there and slow the back of that car down. Gets himself nice.
It seemed to me, it does sound rotary, doesn't it? That RX-7.
Yeah.
I mean, or it's my internet trying to connect. I can't tell what, but it is. It's like that old internet noise. But it's a very high pitched scream, so I'm going to go with it is a rotary in the game. And the M2 looks so big when it's the small BMW against an RX-7, which is crazy. These cars aren't modeled on the real thing, just to give you an idea. But here we go. It's going to be the reverse of the first run. It's Ondrej Sepka in the lead position, Pontus Jakobsen in the chase, and not giving him a whole lot of room on initiation there, Ondrej Sepka, and he's put himself into the wall, and he has crashed out on the first corner. And Pontus Jakobsen will just say, see you later, buddy. I'm going to take this one all the way to the top 16. Going to put in some big angle here just to show off to everybody watching at home. I'm sure if there was a hand out the window button, he would be smashing it right now as he takes it across the line. I think that might be all she wrote. A little 360. He knows what's going down.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that there was no collision here. No, I mean, it was a very wild... There was contact, Dave, but by that point there was already 2 wheels off track. So was Sepka already heading off track without the nudge, or did the nudge?
I think he went in a little too hot. That's just my opinion. I think he went in a little bit with the late flick. I think he unsettled himself a little bit. He almost initiated too late, so it left him very wide on the track. And I think he was coming off the throttle to try and grip the back end of the car up when he hit the grass. And when he hit the grass, he slowed. And then Jakobsen went into him. That's my opinion. Going back in to change fuel and tires, of course, or just have a sandwich, because that's how it works. But did we get a decision there? I think was that Jakobsen's decision? I assume it was.
No.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go. So here we go.
There we go.
There we
Pontus
go.
Jakobsen gets in. We're on a bit of form tonight, Ian.
Yeah, we're on it, Dave.
Usually,
we're on it. It's been a while.
We are like small children who've walked halfway into a film in the cinema, trying to figure out what's going on. But tonight we are making some good calls. I'm pretty impressed with ourselves.
Well, there we go. Another good, a very good driver makes his way into the top 16, and we await to go back and find out who is up next.
Although, to be fair, Ian, pride does come before a fall. Now that I've said it, we'll probably get everything wrong from here. So just a little note.
We'll be all right, Dave.
We'll be okay. Well, next up, I'm excited to see this battle. It is going to be a real-world superstar against a virtual superstar. Conor Shanahan against Christopher LIQUI. And LIQUI, a very good online drifter. Conor Shanahan, a very good online drifter. Conor Shanahan tipped as one of the top guys in this particular championship. Well, will he prove it? Or will he be, upset like Peter Wiańczek was?
Well, I mean, look, just takes one small mistake, Dave, that little bit of over-aggression, and you could throw the whole thing away. And we've seen Wiańczek practice. We've watched him in testing. This guy's been flawless. Today, it didn't look like the same guy that we've seen before. So can Conor Shanahan keep his cool and put it together and get himself a spot in that top 16?
Yeah, we were just looking.
We even have a drone, Dave. We even have a drone.
It's like, you know what? It may not be the real thing, but it's very close, and I'm enjoying it.
It's very close.
It's nice to just get online. I'm sure you guys at home haven't given out about a judging decision in like over 6-7 months. You get pent up, you get frustrated. You need to get a little bit of opinion on the internet out there. We need to be shouting and pretending we know what's going on. We used to be really good at it, and now with such a gap in, sometimes we don't even know what's going on. But right now we have got two more guys heading to the line. It's going to be Conor Shanahan in his S15, which of course he has now sold in the real world and is building a new chassis. He goes up against Christopher LIQUI in another S15, the yellow one this time, and he is going to be in the chase position. So Conor Shanahan's got a little bit of pressure. Got to go in as the lead car. Got to set the pace straight away. Can he do it? Here we go. Off the line they go, and it looks like LIQUI's not letting them get away here too easily as they go into that first corner. Oh, Shanahan right to the edge of the circuit. LIQUI has a little wobble in the chase position, Ian.
Yeah, he certainly does. Conor Shanahan, though, back onto it once again. You can see LIQUI putting a wheel on the inside of the circuit. Looks for the dive. Shallows up massively. Starts to shortcut the track. You can see Shanahan putting a wheel up. Oh, and LIQUI messes himself up massively as he goes too much of a dive and ends up having to use all the brakes to slow that car down. Shanahan was on the wall, though, almost upset himself.
It looked to me like LIQUI just spinning wheels on the run-up. It is difficult not to do. And then he has to brake. And that little brake he did, that was not a good move. He sort of panicked that he was going to hit Conor Shanahan. Then he hit the front brake. Then he left a bit of a gap. And then the rest of the course he's chasing. And as you can see, he's cutting the course quite dramatically there to get back into the mix with Conor Shanahan. How does he get away with that dive? Wow. He's on the handbrake, the front brake. He nearly put an anchor out the window, Ian, because he had to stop that car very, very quickly. He does get away with it. He's still in the fight. But it looks like Conor Shanahan may have taken the advantage there.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that as well, Dave. I think Conor Shanahan looks like the strong contender. And now he sits in a dangerous position. He's in that chase position. LIQUI now to lead. LIQUI needs to put down one hell of a lead run and hope that Shanahan makes a mistake behind him. But LIQUI now spins wheels all the way down towards the initiation point, and that gives Shanahan the opportunity to get nice and close. Shanahan goes very close on initiation, almost puts a wheel over the edge of the circuit. Big angle from Shanahan, slows himself down. Look at this, shallows up, makes a dive. Nice transition once again from Shanahan as they come through the bump and into the concrete roundabout. Shanahan sets himself up looking for the door of LIQUI's S15. Keeps himself away though as LIQUI puts himself into the wall.
Yeah, LIQUI just trying to take a little bit, the last bite of the cookie there at the last corner, and it was too much. In the first corner, it looks like the same thing happened. Shanahan dives in, he's got to kind of back off a little bit. You can see the brakes come on, but the transitions from Shanahan, at this point he loses a little bit of ground. Watch how he just kind of accelerates so fast here. This transition is great, but watch the next one as they come towards the wall. Shanahan just dives in and puts the car right back onto the rear quarter panel. And just watch LIQUI before the end of the course here, hits the wall. Oh, and he's kind of straight coming across the finish line. That might have been the full stop and the nail in the coffin. Good showing from Christopher LIQUI, but I think if you look at it from any other way, Conor Shanahan just not making as many errors. I think that's probably what it's going to come down to. Not two perfect runs from Shanahan, but he'll be tested as it goes on as he moves into the top 16, and a real world Drift Masters European Championship driver moves on to get one back for the real boys against the virtual boys.
That's only three drivers now in the real world that have made it through, Dave, from Drift Masters European Championship. We move it along to the next battle on the line. It will be Thunderwatt to take on Amandas Vestmanis. Manis.
You got it. You got there. Armands Vestmanis against Tournament Wangfu within.
You went for it, Dave.
I went for it. I'm confident.
It's been a long while. It's been a while, so I'm going to hold back on that one.
I'm not going to deny the viewing public us trying to pronounce all these names. Here we go. So it's going to be Armands Vestmanis in the lead position and Wang Fuwasin in the chase.
Yes, Thunderwatt, little collision there, little hit up the back as they transition, big angle transition there for Thunderwatt as Vestmanis now looking to put down a perfect lead line, getting battered and bruised though from Thunderwatt in that chase. Thunderwatt now finds himself in the middle of the circuit. He should have been back a little bit. It's overtaken as they come across the line. They're pushing and shoving across the line.
He's a bit of a bully, this guy, Thunderwatt. I mean, he comes in, he's taking...
Watch this, Dave. It gives him a little nudge.
Nudge on initiation, and then you think, oh, maybe he's learned his lesson. Not so much. Comes through the middle, and he's back on it again. I like the aggression, I've got to say. And to be fair to Armands, he's holding his own here with a little bit of a couple of pieces of contact. And then what I really love is this last transition. What's almost ahead of the lead car, and just towards the end, just to remind him of where he is, it's like, hello, I'm here, pushes him across the line, and then absolutely smashes into him beyond the line. And he's in, it looks like, what, a Safiro C31?
Yeah, Safiro, C31 Safiro, yeah.
Nice choice.
So, yeah, very rare. You don't even see them in real life anymore, Dave. You're in Ireland, definitely down in the UK.
No, they're pretty rare here. Everything's pretty rare now these days. So here we go. Thunderwatt in the lead position. It's going to be Armands in the chase position. A little bit cleaner into that first corner. They go, oh, almost contact, but they get away. Just look at the size of that Safiro on the track compared to the S15. And Armands doing a good job now of managing his aggression in the chase position. And this is good stuff for both drivers. Oh, Thunderwatt's on the curb. It might shake him a bit here into the wall. It does. He flexes the boot lid, and I'm not sure where the chase driver's gone. If he backed out of that one, I'm not sure exactly what happened. It looked like he made an error in the chase. It just shot out of our camera view, so I'm not too sure. But yeah, something funky going down there into that last corner.
Yeah, very, very strange. Nice initiation for both these guys. Kind of what holds the back end of that big Safiro into the outside zone. Nice transition. Armands doing a good job through the centre of the circuit. This is where it all went wrong, and he kind of just disappeared like he'd hit escape. Oh, he made contact.
You know what? That's what happened. Now it's clear. And so obviously Thunderwatt hits the curb, slows down, almost on full 90-degree lock. Obviously Armands not anywhere to go there, hits him, and it upsets his line in the chase position. So that's what I'm seeing, Ian. But then again, he's in a Safiro, so that is cool. So he might have some points from that, we're not sure. But let's see which way the judges go. Two great competitors. Amazing to see these guys out there having so much fun on this Saturday evening. It is Armands Vestmanis that goes through, no surprise there, into the top 16. I enjoyed that one. That was exciting.
Yeah, that was a good battle. Some real aggression and some very nice driving. But, you know, it all comes down to the man who can hold it together. Vestmanis held it together, get his way through. Moving back to the line to the UK's King of Riga 2019, Dave.
Yeah, Martin Richards in the Driftworks R32 going up against Darius Ostrika in another BMW M2, maybe? Yeah, it's an M2. I think it's an M2.
Yeah.
We're getting good at this. So he's in the lead position, Darius, and Martin Richards leaving a little bit of ground here on the initiation, and Martin will probably have the excuse of not having enough horsepower in the real world, not so much in the virtual world. He's got to get back into this one fairly fast, but looking good so far.
Yeah, looking good so far as Richards, but look at this from Darius out front, looking very tidy, big angle transition, and Richards got himself nice into the mix then, holds back, now starts to make the dive as he edges that Driftworks R32 up onto the side of that BMW M2.
You know what?
I'm not sure why Richards held back. I was quite surprised by
didn't get the traction on the way in. And you know what I love about this is that Martin Richards drives very similar to this in the real world. But watch the transition from Richards right in front of the grandstand. Absolutely outrageous. Watch this here. Look. Bam. Like, that is absolutely incredible. I don't know if it's enough to make up for a little bit of lack of angle everywhere else and maybe a little lack of proximity. But in my rule book, Ian, the most wow moment, it always gets a gold star. I mean, it means nothing in the scheme of things, but for me, a gold star for that transition. Incredible stuff. And you got to give it to Darius there. An incredible leader.
Yeah, incredible leader. On the back of the line, Dave, ready to go. Richards to lead, Darius to give chase. Darius looking stronger than Richards right now, but Richards has it in the real world. He's been there, he's been at this track, and he's proved himself as a King of Riga. Can he hold it together? Oh, Darius gets himself too mixed up. Pushes Richards off circuit.
I think he definitely hit him pretty hard too. Judges will look at, did Richards slow down, or did Darius just come in a little too aggressive and too fast? It was a big impact though, and it definitely wasn't one I think that Martin Richards could have recovered from. He did try and recover from it though.
Yeah, he held on to it, Dave. If we go back to the replay, you'll see how much Martin Richards was understeering, trying to keep that car on circuit. Now, let's just look at the impact. Did Richards do any unnecessary braking? Doesn't look like it. Oh, and a little dab of the foot brake, but that was right at the beginning of the initiation zone. So, you know, you would have been excused for a little bit of handbrake and foot brake into that zone to settle the car. So, Darius finishes up his run. We'll have to wait to see what the judges say about this call. So those guys wait there for the decision from our judges. And just like the real life Martin Richards sporting those immaculate work wheels. Here we go, decision is in. And it will be Martin Richards getting the win. And advancing through to the top 16. Too over aggressive was Darius on that initiation, forcing Richards to come off track.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, it's in a moment, in an instant, it can all go wrong.
Yeah, it's just a heartbeat, you know. Not very sportsmanship either, is it, Dave? You know, bullying your opponent off the line.
Yeah, but then again, probably exactly what we were doing. Just come in there and try to shove the guy into the wall. If it was a demolition derby, phenomenal tactic, not so much in drifting. We're moving along to our next battle. It's Sadiq Asari going up against Stephen Jarbo. We've got another RX-7 going up against an S14. There will be Stephen Jarbo in the RX-7. He's in the lead position. Look at the width of that car. It looks incredible. And he's going up against Sadiq Asari. Got a bright coloured rear end on that car. Looks great. Bit sloppy into the first corner from both. Big angle from both drivers. Let's see how they get through the next section of the course. Nicely got big angle though from Jarbo the whole way around the course here, and it looks like Asari's coming for it here through the last section, trying to get nice and close. Just can't catch that RX-7 through the last section. Yeah, a little bit kind of wild, I think, Ian, from both drivers throughout, but they got there, they got home.
Yeah, they did, and you know what? Not too many mistakes realistically. You can see Jarbo in that outside line there. Asari not as wide, not into the outside zone in the chase position. A little bit of room left there. They throw a big angle and it past the grandstand. Once again, big angle as they transition down to the wall. Nice dive there from Asari. Just doesn't find the side of that RX-7. Doesn't get as close as what the judges would like to have seen. I'll swap them around though and do it all over again.
Absolutely, and it's amazing in this game how the characteristics of the real life chassis do actually translate here. So, you know, if you've got a snappy, you know, Mazda RX-7 chassis, it's snappy in this game. If you've got a nice settled S14, it's the same in the game. So these guys picking some unusual chassis thrown into that first corner, and it looks like to me Asari's got a bit of a jump here, not as wide as we'd like to see him on the outer zone as they transition back. Oh, big angle from Asari. He's had to pull out of that one a little bit, and Jarbo's had to adjust in the chase position. He's thrown in mega angle in the chase position. Can they both stay in into the last corner? They can, but look at this big dive from Jarbo. He wants to get this one. He wants the exclamation point, and that looked good to me.
Yeah, that was very, very good there from Jarbo in that chase position. Asari, he made a big mistake, Dave, as he comes down towards where the judging and commentary tower would usually be. Nice job on the outside zone. You can see Jarbo just drops out, keeps one wheel dipped into the outside zone. Nice transition. This is where it all goes wrong. Look at the line he takes. He gets to the outside zone very early. When it hurts his transition, you can see gets to that outside zone very, very late. So gives Jarbo the opportunity to get up close and personal. You see him nudging that wheel on the wheel across the line. Tidy job, and I think, you know, I think that's Jarbo's step into the top 16.
It could be. He's very aggressive, and he was rewarded for being aggressive. And as you can see, these guys are lining up, and they're not even looking at each other, Ian. Not even looking at it. It is a win for Stephen Jarbo. Stephen Jarbo goes through to our top 16. We're getting through it now, and a lot of big names dropping out, and a lot of big names moving on to the top 16. We have got a couple more competitors that are trying to make their way through. Big shout out to All In Games, Budmat, LIQUI.EU, FMIC.EU, LIQUI, MOLY, ST Suspensions. Those guys supporting the Drift Masters Championship both in the real world and the virtual world. Thank you to all of our partners for all of their help. And thank you to you guys watching in at home. It's great to have some audience, some live audience watching drifting in. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, are you enjoying it? Give it a share, give us some comments, let me and Dave know. This is new for all of us, but you know what? It's just really, really nice to see some drifting and see some of those usual names and faces and cars that we all recognise on track. Like you said, Dave, if the only thing we're missing is a bit of wind in the hair and sunshine beating down us and the smell of rubber, but I'm sure I'm going to replicate that for the next round.
Absolutely, and yeah, we'll just have I'll just have people throwing pieces of tire at me in my house, and
yeah,
I'll leave the window open, and you know, we'll get as realistic as we can. But what I do like about this is the amazing views we have in the virtual world. Very like the replicated views of the Red Bull TV coverage of our Drift Masters European Championship, with the drones, with the multiple camera angles. It's just so realistic, and I want to give a big shout out to the whole Drift Masters Virtual Championship team. These guys have been working tirelessly and testing day in and day out to make sure all of this works. It's not as easy as it looks, and in some ways it can actually be more difficult to actually run a virtual championship than a real championship, because there's so many technical things happening. But we are moving on to our next battle. It is going to be Brandon Meehan going up against Adam Grone. Brandon Meehan has just disappeared in. I'm not sure if that's some sort of tactic to throw off Adam Grone, or he's some sort of magician, but I think he's just trying to get some technical difficulties under control, and he'll get back up towards the start line very shortly. He's in a different car by the looks of it, so I'm not sure what happened there. But Brandon Meehan is back towards the start line, warming those tires. He's in a 180 SX. He's taking on Adam Grone. He is in an S14. It's an all old school JDM battle. Two guys looking for a spot in the top 16. As we rattle through this, we're going to get to the business end very, very quickly. Ian, these guys don't want to be sitting on the sidelines for it.
No, they certainly don't, Dave. They want to be in that top 16 where it all goes down. They're off the line. And it will be Grone to lead out Meehan right now in that S13, as you mentioned. Meehan right onto the back bumper. Nice initiation from Grone. Look at this, door to door. This is very good so far from both of these guys. Nice transition from Meehan as he looks for the side of the S14. Both guys absolutely dialed on the transition once again. Perfectly timed. They get back onto it again into the outside zone. Meehan and Grone going at this one. Tooth and nail into it as he gives him a little tap on the door. Whoa, what a battle.
No backing down whatsoever. You know what, from my perspective right now, that is as close a battle to call as you'll get. I mean, both of these guys just threw it all out there. Caution to the wind. Look at the transitions in the chase position from Brandon, doing an amazing job there. And the lead run again from Adam, absolutely perfect. This is going to be a very tough one to decide.
That was an incredible battle. That was incredible. Every transition, it was perfectly timed. Both guys transitioned at the same time. The proximity the whole way through. What a run. What a run.
Incredible stuff. You guys are watching online. If you're watching on Facebook, you're watching on YouTube, let us know where you're watching from, where in the world. We want to get a feel for who's watching on tonight. Thank you so much for viewing. It may not be the exact real thing, but it's pretty damn close. And we're getting some very close battles out there, Ian, as we switch this one around. This time it's going to be Brandon Meehan in the lead position, taking on Adam Grone. Adam Grone's got work to do here if he's going to try and take this win.
He certainly has, but look at this, he's coming for it, he's hungry, shallows up the angle, looks for the door at S13, but gets himself early on the transition to get back up onto the side. Look at this aggression from Grone right now as they come through the centre of the circuit. Meehan not messing around though, Meehan not letting it phase him as he gets up onto the wall, but Grone is right with him. They are wheel to wheel once again, shallows up the angle, nudges him onto the door. Wow, these guys are not messing around.
No, you know what? I forgot I was even, part of the commentary team there. I was just watching that one as a fan. I was like, this is incredible driving from both of these guys, and the transitions are just depth-defying. I mean, look at the transition right here. Look, perfectly timed. We're not even seeing a wait for the lead car to transition. We're seeing an almost a tandem transition. I suppose.
It's just
like it would be almost perfectly timed. Incredible.
Wow.
So we have to find a winner, but we don't have to find any winner. The judges have to find a winner. I'm not sure we can decide it. I'm not sure the guys at home can decide it. We'll have a quick wait while we wait for the judges to come in. Thank you guys. I see you guys watching in from Greece. You're watching in from Liverpool. You're watching in from Ireland. You're watching in from Australia, from the UK. Great to have you on board, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We're having some fun tonight, and that's what it's all about. It might be fun for us, but it's not fun for these guys on track. They're taking this very, very seriously. And Brandon Meehan gets the call and goes through to the top 16. That one would have been close, Ian.
Yeah, that was just incredible. And either of those guys were the worthy winner of that, Dave, let's be honest.
I would have said there's no losers there. Oh, someone flashed their lights. You can flash your lights in the game. That's incredible.
Yeah, you can flash your lights. I think they've got horns as well, Dave. I think I've heard that before. Here we go, move back to the line. It's Andre Santos now to take on Wojciech Gazwalski. I'm going to struggle with these ones, Dave. It's been a while. I've been out of the seat for a while.
I'm going to say Wojciech Gazowski.
Yeah, that's what.
Gazowski?
I think that's what I said.
Yeah, I was confident the first time, not so much the second. Let's see where we go with this one. Let's see if Wojciech in the lead position, and it's going to be Andre Santos in the chain. Oh, big aggression from Andre. I thought he wasn't going to get away with that one. I didn't even see his car through that first corner. He was that close. He's going in hot, but he's backed off a little bit now as Wojciech Gazowski goes into that last corner looking really solid. And again, another big dive from Andre Santos. Can they hold it together? Somehow they hold it together into that last corner, and Santos is like a missile through the course.
Incredible. How did Santos hold that on in the first corner? But look at this incredible initiation by this guy. Look at this dive. Bam, into it he goes, on to the door, absolutely glued. Leave some room on the transition, which is probably the only downside to that run as they come back through in now to the outside zone. A little bit of dirt flips up into the air as he once again makes a dive onto the door. Santos absolutely flying, bringing the aggression. You can see that front wheels to front wheels.
Well, that is incredible. I want to give a shout out to all of our DMVC fans watching in. We got guys from South Africa, from New Zealand, from Quebec, Canada, from all over the world, from Cyprus, Greece, you name it, they're watching it. And we are glued to our screens just like you guys are as well. This is a lot of fun. And after that first run, I mean, Andre Santos, he worries me a little bit. He's wild out there, but can he hold it together? That was definitely a horn. We heard a horn in the start line. So maybe they're listening to us, yeah. So it's like they did like a little Fast and Furious 3 beeps there to start it. Here we go, Andre Santos, the lead. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, Santos throws it down in that lead position. You can see Shallows up the angle. Gazowski now looking for the side of that PS13. He's going to go wide. You can see him bump a wheel up. Oh, and hits him on the transition. Gets it wrong. Santos holds it together. Hits the back end of that PS13 onto the wall. And now Gazowski backs out, holds himself into it, just plays it safe for the final part of that run.
Yeah, I mean, contact is what it's all going to come down to, really, isn't it? You know, this initiation was pretty solid. It's just that contact when they come towards the middle of the course. Who is at fault? I'm not sure. As you can see here, Santos. Oh, it's a little bit wide in the chase this one. And yeah, late transition. Yeah. A little bit of a bump. I don't think that could be blamed on Santos there. I mean, it's incredible at that speed to have a collision and still stay going. I'm really impressed with that. So, yeah, we might not have watched it exactly how the judges watched it, but we're doing all right tonight. I hope you guys at home are playing along on the old amateur judge game. And let's see how we get on here. People watching in from Slovenia, from Switzerland. I mean, this is crazy. People watching in from all over the world. Great to have you guys on board. Thanks for joining.
Well. Wow.
Costa Rica. People are watching from places far nicer than where I am right now. That is for a fact. So let's see what way the judges go. I like the livery here on Santos's car, old school JDM style.
Yeah, nice. I like that.
There's no excuse for poor fitment in a virtual game. That's just, I'm putting it out there. I'm gonna say it. There's no excuse. It is expensive and impractical in the real world. You gotta have some good fitment. And you can see there from Wojciech, he looks serious, Ian. He looks pretty serious in there.
Yeah,
no emotion.
No smiles, not even looking across, no banter.
No, they all look so angry. Which, again, the boys back at home might be saying different things. They might be running around, going crazy. We do not know. But at the moment, we have got to have a winner. We have to have someone going through to that top 16.
I think, we missed a trick as well there, Dave. Oh, Santos is from Brazil, by the way. Oh, there we go. Gazowski gets the win and moves through. Wow, I didn't see that.
Well, there you go. That would have been, from our perspective, a slowing from Santos. That's what it must mean from the judges. He slowed in the part of the track he shouldn't. It was a full acceleration zone. It wasn't the angle we watched it from. The judges, because they are, cleverer than the computer running the game, they were able to decipher that kind of thing. And they're totally right. If you probably watch it back, you'll see some brake lights. But there you go. We've got another driver into our top 16. And we're getting there. We're getting there to the top 32. And it looks like we have got Brandon Meehan going up against Gazowski. We move now on to our next battle, which will be Jose Murillo going up against Nick Hang. So can Nick hang with the best of them? That's the question.
Well, do you know what, Dave? I haven't missed is your puns. Not going to lie. It's been a while.
No, to be honest with you, Ian, I haven't missed them either. So, you know, but I can't resist.
But the fans might have, Dave. They tune in for, not just drifting, the banter and the puns.
Absolutely. So Nick Hang, he is in the I'm going to say 15 front of 14.
Yeah.
And he's going up against Jose Rodriguez in the BMW M2. Popular chassis, the M2. Must be a nice chassis to get to grips with. That's that Eurofighter style in the setup Corsa. So let's see what happens as they come out of the blocks. Jose Rodriguez, he's in the lead. Nick Hang is in the chase. And he's not hanging back, as they say, as they come into the first corner. And Nick trying to transition very, very closely. Big angle in the lead position from Jose Rodriguez as they transition back towards the second half of the course. And look at that big angle again, slowing down nice through the bumpy area of the circuit. Both drivers doing an exceptional job until it looked to me like Jose Rodriguez hits the wall, slows down, and the camera goes absolutely bananas. And it looks like Jose Rodriguez. Did he hit the wall? It looked like he hit the wall, slowed down, and then it caused Nick to go into the back of him. That was my first viewing. Looking forward to seeing the second viewing because that will clear things up.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, Dave. Nick was hanging back quite a lot there, and I don't mean that in the pun kind of way. Didn't really have the proximity all the way through, but then kind of made a weird dive here. Look at this. Makes contact, but how does Rodriguez hold on to that? He was punted into the wall, holds on, and gets the job done.
The thing is, it happens so fast in that particular area of the track. And to be honest, a lot of these battles are like the real world, Ian, being decided in that last corner.
Yes, yeah, exactly that, Dave. We've seen this time and time again. Off the line, it will be Nick Hang to lead out Jose Rodriguez. Rodriguez just gives Hang some room to manoeuvre there as they get in it. Now Nick makes his way down, nice transition. Rodriguez now not having that proximity as they come into the far section of the circuit. Almost contact on that transition. Absolutely plain with a knife edge right there was Rodriguez as he looks for the door of the S14.5, finds it, backs out of it once again. Rodriguez holds his own against Nick Hang.
Absolutely, and another Costa Rican driver on track, and you know what? I think timing is so important in drifting in, and the timing from Rodriguez was just a little bit off. Watch this. He feels like he's got to make up the ground just as they're coming here, and then he dives a little bit too late, has to brake, gets himself a little bit caught there, but does an exceptional job of getting back into the battle. And that sometimes it's all about, if you make a mistake, you got to recover very fast, split second. He does that exceptional. I think it's going to come down to the contact on the first run, probably from the judges, over who's going to take this one to the top 16.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Dave. So we await that judge's decision to come in. And yeah, as you mentioned, that BMW 2 Series chassis, very, very popular in this Assetto Corsa game.
Yeah, let us know at home, guys. If you were playing here, if you were on the Drift Masters Virtual Championship, what car would you pick? Would you have an S15? Would you have an M2? Would you have an RX-7? What would you have? Let us know in the comments. Let us know what cars you guys would pick. I think everyone's having a great job of picking very cool cars. And again, as I mentioned, fitment exceptional in the virtual game. You see everybody running big over fenders, big wheels. I love it. Every car looks awesome. And nice graphic schemes and all these guys design all these graphic schemes themselves, so a little bit of artistic input as well, which I really like, to be honest.
Yeah, I really like the layout of the cars. I think everyone's done an incredible job of getting their cars prepped and looking well for the championship. And yeah, if only you could have if I could have a cool car like that in real life, Dave.
Yeah, I just think both of us shouldn't have cool cars, Ian. We'll probably crash them all. So probably better off having one in the virtual world that we can't damage too much. But here we go. Who's going to take this one home? Top 16, Jose Rodriguez. It's a one more time. Fair call.
Wow.
Some mistakes on both parts, and it looks like a one more time has been called. And those guys will head back up to the start line. We still got to sort this one out. I always like when we go to one more times, Ian, because we're going to get better battles than the first two sets of runs. The guys are used to each other. They've kind of felt out their opponent, and they always get a little bit better or a little bit wilder or have a crash, maybe. But we always get a little bit more of everything in the one more time.
Yeah, we certainly do. Yeah, like we always say at the Drift Masters European Championship events, these guys have felt each other out, so they know what line the lead driver's going to take. They know how fast they initiate. They know the characteristics of the car and how it reacts. And these guys then kind of get a nicer battle in the second half or the first half of a one more time. So it'd be good to see how these guys fare against each other. Nick Hang will chase in Jose Rodriguez. You can see Rodriguez just warming up the tyres there on the back of that BMW 2 Series.
getting a lot of comments about what cars people would have, and yeah, I'm not going to mention some of them, but we've had some interesting cars sent in. We've had a lot of BMWs, a lot of Nissans, a lot of LSs, even a Nissan Micra and McDonald's trays. But we hope you guys are having fun at home. We hope you guys are enjoying the stream. We're about to kick this one more time battle off between Nick Hang and Jose Rodriguez. They couldn't be separated the first time around. Now it's Rodriguez to lead in Hang into the first corner. Oh, we have a bit of a moment there as Nick Hang has to sort of make an evasive maneuver to stay out of the lead car's initiation. And as they come through this section of the course, Nick Hang, does he make a little bit of contact there? Not sure, but it's definitely more aggressive. Nick Hang again always had to back out a little bit. Rodriguez could have been wider there as Hang now tries to come back up onto the door. And here we go, look at this, right, wheel to wheel, door to door across the line. Oh, and a bit of a thump with the wall from Rodriguez, trying to take every inch out of that circuit.
Yeah, Nick Hang there, look at that little tap on initiation and then holds back, gives Rodriguez some room to manoeuvre. Rodriguez kind of on a weird line. This is where it kind of goes wrong again, but there's that little tap on the door upset him. This, for me, was a big mistake. Throws too much angle at it, gets to the outside zone a little bit too early, then has to really scrub the speed through it, and that upsets Nick Hang. Nick Hang does find a side at BMW, though, as they get into the final part of the outer wall run, and then Rodriguez sends it off track.
Yeah, Rodriguez doing a little bit of gardening in the background in the burnout box there, taking every inch, trying to warm things up. And yeah, I mean, Nick Hang did a phenomenal job there in the chase position. Can he hold his own in the lead? And I think Rodriguez has got to go for this, Ian. He's got to go very aggressive from the off here, or he's not going to stand a chance.
Yeah, Rodriguez needs to be on the door the whole way through. He knows Nick Hang's got a pretty nice lead line. They go off the line, smoking tyres all the way down. Big opposite flick from Nick Hang as he gets all the way to the edge of the circuit. Rodriguez goes too wide though and messed himself up. Now has to play catch up as Nick Hang puts on a very, very nice lead line. Rodriguez starts to look for the back of that S15 once again, as Rodriguez once again makes a depth-defying transition. Oh, and shallows up on the foot brake. Keeps off of it as Hang puts the back end of the S15 on the wall. Clinical job from Nick Hang.
I think you're right. I think Nick Hang has done a really good job over those two runs. He was a little bit sketchy on the first two runs before the one more time. But right now he's looking like he's on rails. You know, as I always say, he's got that Scalextrics approach, nothing phasing him. Looking like that car is just going exactly where he wants it to. Rodriguez does a good job of getting as close as he can, but again, I think he's attacking in kind of the most difficult areas, and it's caused him to kind of stall up a little bit. But again, the judges might have watched something very different, you know, than what we're watching when it comes to the technical nature of the run, when it comes to those outer zones and those clipping zones. But yeah, I'm pretty happy to say that I think Nick Hang looked pretty good over the two runs. Will the judges agree? They do. Nick Hang goes through to our top 16, leaving us with one top 32 battle remaining. And I want to just give a little jump ahead here, Ian, because I'll tell you why I want to give a jump ahead. So the top 8 drivers will go through to the grand final. So all those top 16 battles are like a final for all of these guys. Just letting you know that. So we'll get to that in a moment because we have one more top 32 battle to go. Tim Sear taking on Stephen Hatcher, two men whose names are not difficult to pronounce, which is a good thing. But Stephen Hatcher is in an RX. Is it an RX 8?
It's an RX 8, Dave. Yeah, believe it or not.
It's an RX. Wow, out of nowhere.
Is that an S13?
I think that is a PS13 and an RX 8. I feel like an old man who hasn't got his glasses right now sometimes.
Do you know, but, I'm doing the same, squinting at the screen.
Exactly. So here we go. It's going to be the RX 8 of Stephen Hatcher in the lead position. Tim Sear is in the chase position. A lot of smoke from Stephen Hatcher into that first corner.
Right, wow, look at Tim Sear though, onto the door. Oh, he makes a big error. And now Stephen Hatcher starts to drive away with this one. Tim Sear coming absolutely into it. Too much aggression. And you can see now making a whole host of mistakes on his own out back as Stephen Hatcher puts the back end of that RX-8 onto the wall and across the line. Big mistake, big upset there from Tim Sear.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. It looked like he came in too hot, then hit the brakes. Did he hit the handbrake and brake and the clutch? The car just completely gripped up on him in the chase position. We'll be able to see it here. As they came through that first corner, it's like he almost stalled and then the car snaps the other way.
Weird.
So it looks to me like it just shut down. Maybe he had a technical difficulty. Maybe his, what did they say, the kids say, frame rate drop? Is that something that people say? But then, I mean, in fairness, he does massive dive. He hits the wall then after the massive dive. And then, you know, to be fair, I like RX-8, so, you know, I think that was a solid job there from Stephen Hatcher all the way around. Tim Sear is in the lead position now, and he's made big errors. I mean, he's not far off a 10-0, I'd imagine, Ian, so he's got to do something special. But as we've watched so many times, he can turn around in an instant.
It certainly can, Dave. Things can change in a heartbeat. The lights can light up, and They're going to drop out and they will be off the line. Tim Sear now, his chance of redemption as he smokes the tyres on the back of the S13 all the way down to initiation. Stephen Hatcher going to play catch up as Tim Sear once again has to back out of it ever so slightly, puts himself back into it on the transition, finds that front clipping point. Now Stephen Hatcher starts to find the door at S13. Nice transition from both guys. Oh, Sear's very wide. Big upset, wobbles, has to think about it. Oh, backs out. Hatcher has to hit him. He has nowhere else to go, Dave. And this one has turned into a destruction derby.
Yeah, there's a lot of damn virtual panels lost in this particular battle. Tim Sear again, probably too much angle on the initiation, but he keeps it going. And Hatcher does a good job of adapting to that. And I think, this was a pretty clean battle all the way up until we come into that, infamous bump, the Riga bump, as he comes towards it, too wide from Tim here, loses the back wheels. As he transitions, you can see the car wildly out of control, has to come off the throttle to settle it. And because he's off the throttle, we have Stephen going to the back of him. Now, how the judges will weigh that up one way or the other, I'm not too sure. It is a decel area of the track, but that might have been excessive decel. I'm not too sure. Very jazzy wheels from Tim Sear, I will say. Very, very jazzy. Two good-looking cars, I will say that.
Do you know what? It looks absolutely incredible sitting there.
It does. I just got blinded a little bit there. Oh, we're back in the studio. So we're going to have a small break before we go to our top 16. So I mentioned it, Ian, and I hope you guys at home are having a good time. I mentioned that from this point on, we now have 16 drivers remaining in the competition. Of the Drift Masters, we'll call them real-world drivers or real drivers from the European Championship. They're in this for blood, they're in this for pride, they're in this just to take down the dreams of many a man in his simulator at home. But all of our virtual drivers at this point, if they win their next battle, not only will they go towards the podium here at this particular round, but they will make it through to the grand final. So every single battle we're about to see in the top 16 is almost like a final for these guys, or a semi-final if you want to put it that way, to get into the final.
Yeah, exactly that. So they get to go through and they're going to be into that super final, which is going to be, incredible. The driving standard already, Dave, in top 32 has been mind-blowing.
Yeah, this is the thing, everyone's pretty solid here, so it's going to be good battles all the way to the final. What I'm trying to think is, what do you got to do to win this? Because everyone's very on it. It's not like a lot of guys are struggling with the course or not getting zones. What have you got to do to try and win this competition? We've got some heavy hitters in there. I'm looking through my bracket here, and I'm seeing Alan Hines, probably the favorite, I would imagine, at this point. One of those guys that qualified first, looks unstoppable. Then you're looking at the likes of Connor Shanahan in there. You're looking at the likes of Martin Richards in there, and Korpelinski, those guys from the real world. But then all the guys that are coming in from the virtual world, we've got a lot of matchups where it's a real world driver against a virtual driver right through this top 16. They're the ones I think are the most interesting. But I think if you look at it from a virtual driver's perspective, you've got to beat a real world elite driver to get into the final. That's fairy tale stuff.
Yeah, it certainly is fairy tale stuff. But I think, going back to your question of what have you got to do to win this, I think you just have to keep yourself calm, keep your mindset right, because we've seen people like Peter Vincek, they just make one mistake and the whole thing is over. You've just got to keep yourself flowing. You just got to keep doing the same thing, repetition over and over and over again. And one mistake, your day's over.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go as far as to say, if you look at the big heavy hitters here, I think you're looking at Hines, Korpelinski, and Shanahan as being drivers that have translated from the real world to the virtual world and back again in the case of Alan Hines, guys that have success in online drifting and in real drifting. So not only do they know how the game works, but they also have the element of dealing with pressure. They're used to that in the real world and the real danger. But again, we've had some drivers in there that I'm kind of saying, you know what? They've got a bit something about them. There's a lot of guys in there. You look at Craig Fulgham in the Corvette. You're looking at Thomas Ozinski. he's just beaten Peter Vincek. You can't write him out of anything tonight. It could be the dream night.
No, exactly that, Dave. And I think you're swaying to the Corvette because you've got one. And I think that's just, a bit of favoritism coming in there.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe I'm just hoping one of them works somewhere and it'll be great. And even if it's the virtual world, I'll take it. So basically, from my perspective right now, as we head into top 16, it's going to be a very interesting top 16. Guys, who you think's going to win it? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your opinion. Time a virtual drifter wins a battle right now, he gets into that grand finale. And for Christoph Ziden, he will be in the first battle against Alan Hines. He's got to beat Alan Hines to get into that final. That's going to be a big task.
It certainly is. It's almost too much, because this is your first place qualifier, and but he's on the ropes a little bit here, Dave. This is the first time he's battled another driver all night. Christoph, he had to do it against his teammate. Now the game is on. Alan Hines comes off the line. Christoph to chase down Alan Hines, and Alan Hines is absolutely flying and gone. Big flick initiation as Alan Hines puts the rear wheel of that Pro Drift Academy S15 to the line and then through that front clipping point. But look at Christoph now as he looks for the side of that S15. Nice transition from Christoph. Christoph gets into it. Alan Hines on the ropes now. Wow, what an incredible transition from Christoph. He is door to door with Alan Hines. They come across the line, Dave.
Wow. I'm going to say it. I didn't expect it. Especially with the run into that first corner. It looked like Hines, and look at Christoph obviously has to sacrifice a little bit of angle there on the first corner. But from that point on, there is no more he could have done to give himself a fighting chance in this one. As they come into this last corner, watch this transition. That is absolute insanity. He gets away with it. You know what? He got a high-fived Alan Hines there as they came through that last section. Incredible.
That was just something else. That was unbelievable. That transition, you wouldn't even dare, would you? Would you even dare?
I wouldn't even chance it in the virtual world. I would be too afraid. I'm not joking you. That is an incredible bit of timing, skill, and you know what? He pulled it off. So the first corner, that run up, that might be, the only error he made in that run, but it's quite a substantial one. He had to cut that first corner. Alan Hines will be hoping to stay wide in the chase position in that first corner, and that could be the separating factor here.
Yeah, it could be, Dave. Well, there we go. Christoph now in the lead position. Alan Hines to give chase. Oh, Christoph has left the line. Not sure what is going on. He's calling a 5-minute rule, Dave.
Oh, he's reversed into a cone. And the cones, of course, are concrete in this particular instance. They're probably the most dangerous part of the course to avoid anybody jumping that line. But Christoph's, he just had a little bit of a moment there of disappearing and reappearing. So a little bit like our knowledge sometimes, Ian.
Yeah, just trying to work out what happened. But yeah, we'll get to the bottom of it one day, I guess, Dave. Anyway. So Christoph is now ready. Alan Hines is ready into that chase position. Christoph to lead, Hines to give chase. Hines, what does he do? Does he hang back? Does he go for it? Does he overcompensate? This is all on the line right now as Christoph gets a wheel off the edge of the circuit. Could that be the nail in the coffin? Whoa, an incredible transition from Hines. Hines makes a mistake. Puts a wheel off the inside of the circuit, shallows up the angle and edges that S15 to the door. The S14, they come down up onto the wall. Christoph looking for it, absolutely dialed, but Hines is wheel to wheel, door to door, almost rubbing wing mirrors as they come across the line.
You know what? I was a little worried because I was thinking, what more can Alan Hines do? But we just got the answer, didn't we? That first corner probably was the difference maker. Look how wide, though, Christian was there. That was incredible. Christoph's was. To be fair, take nothing away from the lead line from Christoph. He did exactly what the judges would have wanted him to do. But Hines just brought the heat a little bit more consistently throughout the whole run. That's what I'm looking at here. I think that first corner, I mentioned it from Christoph's, he just was left napping there. Everything else was sensational. I think he had a better proximity even, Christoph's, but he just lost that angle on the first corner. So I wonder, is that enough to sway it and put Alan Hines into the top 8? Let's see which way the judges go. And it is indeed Alan Hines going through to the top 8. That is a valiant effort, though, from Christoph Ziden, in my opinion. He did a great job all around, but unfortunately not enough against one of the best virtual drifters in the game.
No, unfortunately not. And as you say, Hines moved it through to the grade 8. Incredible battle, though. And you know what? keep that name in my mind in case I see it pop up next time. Thomas Kaczynski now pulls to the line to take on Christian Petrov. Kaczynski took down Peter Vincek earlier on in top 32. Well, can he take Christian Petrov out of it?
I just saw a comment roll in on the Facebook there saying, is this real or online? And that's just made my day. I mean, if you're feeling like it's real, then it's real either way. I love that. You know what I mean? It's real adrenaline. It's real competition. It just happens to be in the virtual world. Here we go. Another battle. Christian Petrov, Thomas Kaczynski. Remember, Kaczynski took out Peter Vincek, and he's exploding flames from the front of that BMW, but he's left a bit napping on the start line here. We might have a false start, and we do indeed have a false start. That looked to me like a little bit of missed timing from everybody. It happens, Ian. You know, everyone's pumped. Everyone's pumped up. Everyone's ready to go, and you know that's a very small little light that they're looking at in front of them. And sometimes you can jump the line a little bit. I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a bit of miscommunication. And hopefully this time these guys will get off the line. Kaczynski in the chase position I mentioned took down, probably one of the highest ranking drivers in the world. So no pressure as he comes into this particular battle. Let's see what happens, Ian, as they come off the line.
Yeah, clean start from these guys. As now Petrov leads in Kaczynski. Kaczynski goes very wide though, drops wheels over the edge of the circuit. Petrov holds it together, nice transition. Petrov did a clinical job last time in his top 32 battle, and now he looks dialed as he fires through the middle of the circuit. Wheel up onto the curb, takes down the cones. Kaczynski looks for the side of that S15 once again. Kaczynski holds his own, stays with him, just nudges the front bumper onto the door.
Incredible stuff there, and really good driving from everybody. And from my perspective right now, it's going to be tough to beat anybody at this level. Everyone's kind of dialed in, but watch that. Just a little bit too much of an overhang from Kaczynski for me. He just hung on a little bit, had to go on the angle to stay off the grass. It lost him a little bit of ground. He kind of clawed back in for the rest of the run. And then you've got a little bit of dirt drop in there from Petrov, but pretty even overall. I was just thinking, Ian, on another note here, that there's about 60 people involved in this championship right now, and not one person is in the same household or area as another. Is that incredible? That there's 60 people making all of this happen from all over the world. It's incredible. Just how far we've come and how much we've adapted to the current situations. It's amazing to see, and hats off to everybody involved. So here we go again. It is going to be Kaczynski now in the lead position, and leaving a bit of a gap on Petrov. He's got work to do here.
Yeah, why has he left the gap though, Dave? Is he going to play it safe, or is he going to go for it? He goes for it. He goes for a big dive after the initiation in that outside zone. Backs out of it once again now, looks for the side, makes a dive up onto the side once again, and that BMW gives him some room to manoeuvre through as he gets a wheel up onto the curb. Does Thomas Kaczynski. And here comes Christian Petrov right now as he once again tries to make a dive, dials it in, fires on the angle, or makes contact across the line.
Oh, there you have it. I mean, from my perspective right now, that run-in, Ian, is so important. You cannot get left for dead there. It just leaves you with so much work to do for the rest of the course. And it happens in the real world, in the real championships as well. That initiation is so important. Because the course is so full throttle for about 60-70%, you don't really have anywhere to catch until the very end. And that's what exactly happened here, as Petrov played catch-up the whole way through, got to Kaczynski on the last wall, but was it too little too late, or had he done enough? I mean, mistakes from both sides. It's going to be a tough one for the judges to call.
It certainly is going to be a tough one for the judges to call.
Team Slide Culture represents. See the fans spinning in the booth. That's amazing.
There's no detail, Dave, left unturned in this championship.
It's incredible. I mean, the fans spinning in the rear radiator just to me says, how crazy is the future of this championship if this is the kind of level of driving, detail, and excitement that it's bringing us. I mean, we got another 4 rounds to go after this. I'm pumped enough. I might have to take a little sit down after this because it's been very exciting. Well, the judge is still waiting, and here we go. It's going to be Christian Petrov getting the win in the S14. Chris and David and Kevin, our judges, have all decided that it is going to be the little S14 with the crazy little JDM graphics going through. I'm excited for that. I think Christian did a great job there, Ian, and we move along to our next battle.
Yeah, Craig Fulham now sits on line in that Corvette to take on Lukas Tazemski. And Tazemski dispatched his first battle nice and cleanly done. Craig Fulham had to get one more time in the bag to make his one happen. Now this Corvette doesn't look that easy to drive. The right car choice.
Absolutely.
Ready to go.
Here we go. It is going to be Tazewski's in the lead, big flick in, Craig with a little bit of the front brake, wide angle from both. We're okay so far from both sides. Late transition from Craig, does a good job of getting into the mix, and very close here when he get caught on the transition. He does a nice job. A big angle from Tazewski, nice into that last corner. This is a great battle so far. Both guys keeping their nose clean, doing a great job. A little bit of drop off from Craig just at the end there. That's nice and clean and showing why these guys are in this top 16, why they were picked as the best 96 online drifters in the world. Proving it out there right now, Ian.
Yeah, exactly that, Dave. And for me, Craig Fulham there just held back a little bit too much. Just not enough proximity, not enough danger thrown at it. Nice transitions, very clinically done. For me, Tazewski though gets the job done perfectly. This is where Fulham really starts to fall back. Look at that. Giles on the same amount of angle, but just doesn't have the grip or the pace to keep up with Tazewski there.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to question, is the cautious approach sometimes the right approach when, you know, you see so many hits and so many incidents? You know, we look at Bjornsek going out with probably a little bit too much aggression. It's hard to play that balance, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, they're off the line for the second half of the run. Now Fulham to lead out, Tazewski to give chase. Tazewski nothing to lose. Almost tags the back of that Corvette before initiation. They fire down into that first outside zone. Fulham on a very nice line at the moment. Tazewski taking all of their opportunities to use that perfect lead line for proximity. Nice transition. They get into the outside zone again. Nice transition back up onto the side goes Tazewski. Tazewski gets wheel to wheel on the foot brake, pushing Fulham across the line. For me, deal done, Dave.
Yeah, it'd be rare that I would go against the Corvette in any situation, but in this particular one, I have to say that was a masterclass of a chase run. Took a big risk on the initiation, was, you know, flirting with disaster with the inside wheel, but he needed that bit of pace to do what he did for the rest of the course, and that was stay as close as possible. Look at these transitions, absolutely mirror perfect. Got to give it up to Craig in that lead position, doing a brilliant job out there, but it only made it all the easier for his opponent to get right onto the door, make it look good, put the exclamation point on, and maybe step himself into the top 8.
Well, luckily that decision isn't ours, Dave, and we have to wait for our impeccable judging panel to come to that decision. And even the roll cages, Dave, the detail inside the cars is just incredible.
It's amazing because people are drawing this, you know, digitally online. All of these graphics, wheels, body kits, chassis. You know, people are creating this. There you go. It is a win for Lukas Tazewski. No surprise there. We were impressed with him, and we'll see Craig Fulham maybe another time down the line in his cool Corvette, but it's not enough to get him into the top 8. But as you mentioned, Ian, the detail that people are putting into these games, I mean, it's how drifting has lived on with the absence of public events for the last year. It's been living online, it's been healthy online, it's been growing online, and people are having fun building cars, sharing parts, or sharing setups, as they say. And it's been amazing to watch these guys turn up with their own liveries, their own setups, you know, their own preferences, and shooting here against what is a very realistic backdrop in Riga, putting those skills to the test.
Exactly that, Dave. We go back to the start line. Pontus Jakobsen to lead out Pavel Korpolinski. Korpolinski, one of our big hitters in the real life Drift Masters European Championship. Well, now he has to take on an online drifter who has been absolutely flawless so far. Jakobsen looking good. Oh, Korpolinski very aggressive on initiation. Oh, Korpolinski throwing punches at Jakobsen right now in the outside zone. Korpolinski's BMW looks absolutely monstrously big next to that Mazda RX-7. As they come down into the concrete jungle right now, up onto the wall goes Jakobsen. Oh, what a big wobble from Korpolinski as he settles the car, finds the side of that Mazda, and across the line they go.
Yeah. Korpolinski is using what I would describe as excessive force on the first corner. You know, he has a tap on initiation. He says, I might back out. No, I won't back down. I'll just smash into him again. And how Jakobsen holds this through this amount of pressure from the real-life pro driver. And look, as they transition again, Korpolinski's no more than a couple of feet away the entirety of the course. But look, Jakobsen unfazed, gets to the wall. He's looked like on rails the whole way through this competition. Korpolinski definitely knew he was a very steady competitor and tried to be as flashy and as aggressive as he could, but no shaking Jakobsen there. Looked very solid to me. And Jakobsen's got to show, though, a little bit more aggression now in the chase position because Korpolinski brought it in spades.
He certainly did, and now Korpolinski sits in the lead position. Jakobsen to give chase. Can Jakobsen deliver some blows to Korpolinski as they come down? Jakobsen gives him that room to manoeuvre. Very tidy job. Slow initiation, very slow into that first outside zone. Go both the guys. Now they start to pick up the pace. They come down and Jakobsen shallows up, nudges the front end of that D into the door at BMW. Once again, Jakobsen allowing Korpelinski the room to manoeuvre. Shallows up, finds the side of the BMW and across the line. Not as impactful this time, but clinically done from both guys.
That's the thing. I think you look at flashes of brilliance from Korpelinski and you weigh that up against consistency from Jakobsen, and it all depends on what the judges want. I mean, consistency is key, but they do reward a bit of style, a bit of aggression, so I think this one's a little closer than it might appear.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Dave. Jakobsen and Korpelinski just lacked a little bit in the second half of this run.
Yeah, but he lacked it, but maybe he wasn't spectacular, but he was there. He wasn't far away. Yeah. He was giving himself every opportunity. I can't get over these spinning radiator fans in the back of these cars. I didn't even realize that was the thing. That's just like incredible detail. I mean, you can even see the top-up fluid and the petrol. Everything is crazy.
Everything, yeah.
Everything.
Incredible.
Yeah, and as I said, fitment is always key when it comes to virtual drifting, and every car just looks amazing. It's amazing, and you know what? Pretty to look at. That's okay with me.
Well, judge's decision, we are waiting to drop in.
Yeah, a few people in the chat, Ian, saying one more time, but will it go one more time? It won't.
Oh.
How about Korpelinski? The aggression paying off and getting the call from the judges. And you know what? We said it. Would it be consistency? Would it be aggression? I think the aggression weighed in there, and I think Korpelinski took that one on aggression alone.
So there we go. Korpelinski getting the win and advancing through to that great 8.
Yeah, so at the moment, from where I'm sitting, Korpelinski doing a job on Jakobsen and not getting into that top 8. Alan Hines knocking out Zidane, and then you have Petrov and Tazemski going through there as well. So we are a bit of a mix here between the real world drifters and the virtual drifters. And you know what? It goes to show, Ian, how close in reality it is between both when there's kind of an even split.
Exactly that, Dave. And the next one coming up is a big battle. Looking very, very excited about the last couple. Shanahan, Richard still in it. Nick Hang, Stephen Hatcher. That's going to be a good battle.
I think there's a couple of big ones. And I think by the time we get to when we're going towards the top 8 is going to be incredibly stacked. That's what I'm thinking. At the moment, a couple of guys out there, that might have had a lucky break, with some contact or some issues. Other than that, I think we've got some incredible drivers left in this. And yeah, I'm thinking Nick Hang, Stephen Hatcher there. I'm looking at Brendan Meehan and Gazowski. We've Richards and Jarbo, Shanahan and Vesmanis. And we now move on to Connor Shanahan and Armin's Vestanis. So Connor Shanahan, who is no stranger to the online world, but he's hit a lot of podiums in the virtual world as well as he has in the real world. But he was up against a very, very accomplished online drifter in Armin's Vestanis, and anything can happen from this point on.
It certainly can, Dave, but don't forget Connor Shanahan is another guy who spent multiple hours behind the wheel of his sim rig at home. And here we go, off the line they go. Shanahan to lead in Vesmanis right now as they fire down. 2 S15s go in battle, but Vesmanis leaves some room for manoeuvre as Shanahan opens up the gap, sticks his foot to the floor. Vesmanis wheel over the inside of the curb as Shanahan absolutely pinpoint perfect, but that transition from Vesmanis left no questions in the judge's mind as he once again now finds the side of the S15 as Shanahan and Vesmanis go tooth to tooth at it. Incredible driving from both of these guys. Definitely a lot left on the table there for both. I definitely don't think Vesmanis, was as aggressive as he might have been. He tried his best. Shanahan seems to have a lot of pace in that S15. He's tough to catch. But you know what? I do respect a guy, holding a consistent amount of, proximity throughout the whole course, not making big dives and knocking himself out essentially in, which has happened quite a bit in this competition, is knocking yourself out of competition. Vesmanis definitely keeping himself in the competition, and now he's going to be in the lead position. Sort of asking the question of Connor Shanahan, what have you got, buddy? I mean, how good are you? Can you go right to the door? And Connor Shanahan has nothing else to do but respond. Yeah, Connor Shanahan has to respond in the same way that Vesmanis did. Vesmanis was there the whole way through. Now he comes down for the initiation. Connor Shanahan onto the back bumper. Oh, a little nudge from Shanahan. Aggression straight away, and Shanahan bringing the fight from the off. As Shanahan risks the transition, almost takes out Vesmanis as they come door to door down in front of the judging tower, and they're back into it once again. Vesmanis goes nice and wide, avoids the curb. Slow though onto the wall as that gives the opportunity for Connor Shanahan to get on the door and force Vesmanis across the line.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? That's over the line there. He was rubbing paint. I think that's as much of it. Look at this. It was almost. I don't know how Shanahan didn't punt him straight forward on that first corner, because he was just. It was like a cat with a mouse here. He was. You know, he dived when he needed to. He looked so in control, Shanahan, that I don't think there was much that Vesmanis could do here. I think he did a great lead run. I think he did as much as he could do. Shanahan just brought that aggression from start to finish. And I think we might see another real-world drifter start to move into that top 8. I'm not saying it straight away, but it looks to me like that may be the case.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dave. I don't think there's no, denying that Conor Shanahan absolutely put on a masterclass right there. And Vesmanis, as you said, did everything in his power to do what he could do. Unfortunately, I just don't think he had enough there in that chase compared to Shanahan.
Absolutely. Well, the judges will weigh in on this one. Who's going to the top 8? It's going to be Conor Shanahan going through, eliminating Armin's Vesmanis, and Armin's has been a great competitor right throughout this competition, but he met the on-form Irishman, and Conor Shanahan moves into the top 8. As we go back to the line, here's a big one again. Martin Richards against Stephen Jarbo. Martin Richards in the Driftworks R32. Stephen Jarbo, very impressive in that RX-7 in his top 32 battle against Sadiq Asari. Can he take down the real-world threat and an ex-King of Riga in 2019, Martin Richards? This one's going to be interesting.
Certainly is going to be interesting. Richards handed a gift in his top 32 battle and made his way into top 16. Now he has to work for it. And we know Stephen Jarbo, he had to fight to be in the top 16. He's not going to let this one go easy, Dave. And he's going to want to tell everyone he took down the 2019 King of Riga. They come off the line. Jarbo to lead, Richards to give chase. Big smoke of the tyres there on Jarbo's Mazda RX-7, and Richards holds back massively. Looks for outside zone, shallows up the angle now to find some proximity. Oh, and Richards wobbles through the middle of the circuit, dropping wheels off the edge of the track. Richards is on the ropes right now. Stephen Jarbo comes flying into the outside zone. You can see Richards sacrificing line in the middle of the circuit for a big angle, and Richards over-rotates and comes across the line the wrong point.
Yeah, I think that could be flirting with a 9-1 or a 10-0 for Martin Richards on that last corner. He sort of had to make a big adjustment and straighten up. Just didn't really work for Richards throughout the whole course. He looked a little unsteady, not on a whole lot of angle, reinitiating there, kind of strange stuff, dropping wheels, not the cleanest of chase runs.
No, certainly not. And Stephen Jarbo, to me, didn't really make a whole host of errors. Pretty straightforward lead run from Stephen Jarbo, but
I think he might get away with it, Martin Richards. He was very close to an opposite drift, but I think he might get away with it. But either way, he's not going to claim any, brownie points from the judges for that. So I think Jarbo's looking strong here. He's in an RX-7. It's a super wide body RX-7 by the looks of it, which gets gold star points from me. But at the same time, I think in the chase position here, he's got a Martin Richards who might be a little tough to chase. I'm not sure.
Well, we're about to find out. They come firing down, and he gives Richards the room to manoeuvre. Oh, now Jarbo makes a mistake. Too slow on initiation. Has to work to get that car back on angle. Richards heads into it. Richards off throttle and handbraking in the middle of the circuit. Richards way off form tonight, as now Stephen Jarbo finds a side of that Driftworks R32, and Stephen Jarbo starts to force Martin Richards into the corner.
Yeah, it looked like there was a host of errors. I'm going to watch this initiation again just to see what happened. It looked like there was a wobble from both drivers. And, Richards kind of goes into the middle. Richards is dropping into the middle of the circuit, dropping a wheel on the inside. That may affect Jarbo, but this looked kind of straight, had to reinitiate, not a lot of angle, and kind of very strange. It's like he almost, maybe the accelerator pedal snapped off, or he lost a little connection or something, or maybe just even fell out of the chair, because it looked like Martin Richards made some errors there, quite uncharacteristic ones, and from my perspective, I think this is going to be a fairly obvious call that Stephen Jarbo will get it. But again, I'm not a judge, but and again, we admire the detail in these cars, which are so like the real thing. It's incredible. It is going to be Stephen Jarbo getting the win, going through to the top 16. No surprise there. Too many errors from Martin Richards knocks him out of competition, and him and his really blingy, cool work wheels will have to come back to fight another day. So we move on to our second last battle in our top 16. It's going to be Brandon Meehan going up against Gazowski, and I'm looking forward to this one. Two guys that were super aggressive in the top 32, Ian. Let's see how they get on here.
Yeah, Gazowski really brought the fight. Brandon Meehan, though, he was a heavy hitter. These two guys making their name right now tonight here in the Driftmasters Virtual Championship. They get the lights all the way illuminated and off. Gazowski to lead out Meehan. They come down. And Meehan, look at this, door to door. Meehan just avoids him on initiation. Big angle from Gazowski. Can he hold it off? He certainly can. And Meehan replies with a very big angle transition. Oh, but what happens to Gazowski? Completely misses that front clipping point. He's way offline now. Has to work to get that BMW back on that perfect lead line. Brakes to get into the outside zone, and that opens up the door massively for Brandon Meehan to get onto the side of that BMW. And Meehan absolutely pushing as they come across the line.
Yeah, I mean, it looks strange. He just took a little wobble there in the middle of the circuit. I mean, Meehan had to really make evasive maneuvers to stay in that one at the start. Both guys doing a great job and a great transition for Meehan in the chase. But watch this, because I think it's a little bit of understeer here or something.
Yeah.
It just has to correct it and just get a little bit too wide. Does good to recover from it. No major incidents there. But it might be, at this level, it might be enough. That's the thing. We say one small error, one small wobble. We're probably being a little bit harsh here, Ian. I mean, if both of us were driving, this would look like some sort of Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, it would just be incredible. But I would say that from my perspective, those little mistakes with the level that these guys are driving at is probably going to be the deciding factor when it comes down to the judging. So Meehan now will take the lead position, Gazowski will take the chase position, and he's got to bring the fight here, and he's got to go for broke. He cannot afford to back down. He cannot afford any errors. He's got to put on a masterclass in that BMW. And Meehan is pretty solid in the lead position. So look at that from Gazowski. Unbelievable initiation as he definitely threw caution to the wind. Meehan goes on big angle. Gazowski can deal with it. This is an incredible chase run to get himself back into the fight. Meehan on big angle again. Gazowski pushing a little hard, maybe a little too hard here as he now takes into that last corner, but he gets away with it. Incredible chase run. Is it enough to make up for the mistakes? The judges will decide, but you know what? If he's going down swinging, or he may have got himself a one more time here. Look at that initiation. That's the best we've seen all night.
Wow, that was incredible. How he held on to that, I don't even know. Very, very tidy job. Brandon Meehan, though, didn't put a foot wrong in that lead position. You can see completely fulfills all those outside zones. Very tidily done. Did what was asked of him to put down a very chaseable lead line. Gazowski answered that, though, with an incredible chase. I'm not sure, Dave. I think that mistake in the first half of the run from Gazowski could be enough to send him home.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was a big mistake on that first corner. Judges will weigh on it. I think we've got two very good chase runs from both drivers. I think from the lead perspective, Gazowski just making that error, it could be enough. It's hard to tell. And as far as I'm concerned, those small errors, I mentioned it after the first run, they might just be enough to knock you out of competition. And yeah, he looks quite solemn in the car, Ian. He looks doesn't look as happy as he could be. He looks focused. But also, these guys are. They really want it. I mean, both of these guys want to get into that grand final. This decision decides who does and who doesn't to a certain extent. So, it's a big decision. It's probably the biggest decision in their virtual drift careers. So, as much fun as we're having, this is a serious prize on the line and a serious final that these guys want to get into. So let's see who's going to take it. It is going to be a one more time. So split decision. Yeah, split decision from the judges. One of the judges going for Brandon Meehan. The other is saying one more time. Yeah, the aggression from Gazowski there must have been rewarded. He was incredibly aggressive in the chase position. It must have balanced out that mistake from the lead position, and we're going back at it again.
Wow, I'm surprised, Dave. And just like most Drift Masters events, that caught me unaware. I'm going to be completely honest. I thought that was Brandon Meehan's run there. I thought he'd got himself a place in that grand final, moved forward into the Great Eight. Gazowski's understeer, I just didn't think, was. But
then Ian, think back to the initiation in the chase position from Gazowski. What was that?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a millimeter away. If you don't reward driving like that, and I like the fact that the judges have, you're kind of getting everyone to play safe, and we don't want to play safe. Whatever about the real world, you certainly don't want to play safe in the virtual world. So I like the risk. I like that knife edge stuff. I think one more time, fair call. Let's see where we go from here.
There we go. So they are back on the line. Flashing their headlights. I think that's a signal to say they are ready to rock and roll. Brandon Meehan now to chase down Gazowski once again for a spot in the Great Eight. A place in that grand final. The lights illuminate. They will extinguish, and there we go. Gazowski now will try not to make the same mistake twice. But Brandon Meehan needs to make a statement right now. Fire down an absolute perfect chase run as he starts to do right now. Onto the side he goes, very cleanly done. Once again, you can see Gazowski gets to the outside zone very early, understeers away from that front clipping point. Big angle transition, but Brandon Meehan responds, and now Brandon Meehan dives onto the side with another massive transition, nudging and forcing his way onto the side of that BMW.
I mean, these guys won it. That's the safe bet now, Ian, is that nobody is backing down. We're not seeing as many errors. We're seeing a very aggressive drive from everybody. They've settled into this one a little bit as well. You can see it, managing that aggression a little bit better, and you can see in the lead position, Gazowski doing a good job of just staying on that outer line, giving Brandon Meehan everything to work with here. And as it transitioned back, Brandon throwing caution to the wind there. That was a risky move, and it paid off. He got onto the door. I think there's huge questions now being asked of Wojciech Gazowski. I mean, he answered them in the first one. What more can he do? What more aggression can he bring? At least one thing we know is that this is going to be an entertaining one, Ian. This is going to be one of those that we're going to go, oh, he almost crashed and everybody nearly died, because he is one of the knife-edge drivers in this championship, and I love watching him, and I think he's going to go for it again here on the initiation.
I think he has to go for it again, Dave. Brandon Meehan pushed a little bit harder than he did last time. And look at this, once again from Gazowski. Fires it in, not as close this time, left a little bit in it. Maybe played it a little bit too safe, but makes a big dive up onto the side as Brandon Meehan once again on that perfect lead line. Oh, Gazowski on the middle of the circuit there. That messes him up massively now as he looks for the side of Brandon Meehan's S13. You can see him in the middle of the track, rubbing a wheel on the wheel. And there was a few mistakes creeping into that run there from Gazowski.
Yeah, not as aggressive as the run he did in his first set of battles, but also not only not as aggressive, but not as clean. So that's gonna hurt him both ways. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is knife-edge driving from everybody. I mean, we're always getting so used to it now, Ian, that it just seems normal that everybody's doing this kind of stuff. But yeah, transition's a little bit too early there. I think still a very good run, still a very good chase. You thought Brandon on the first. I was kind of undecided. I think maybe Brandon on this one. That would just be my initial gut feeling. But as we always know, we have been many times wrong in the past. So we will see which way the judges go. And this time it is Brandon Meehan who goes through to the top 8. No arguments there, Ian. I think that was the fair call.
Yeah, I think that was the fair call there, Dave. And Brandon Meehan worked hard for it. It paid off. Here we go. Up next, Nick Hang to take on Stephen Hatcher. This one's going to be good. Hang was incredible last time, but Stephen Hatcher in the RX-8 was just very, very good in that lead position.
But again, he had a spin against him. He wasn't tested on the ropes. I want to see how much resolve he has here, because Nick Hang is probably not going to make big errors here. This is going to be a real tooth and nail battle.
It certainly is, Dave. So we'll wait to get the lights on and away. Get these guys down this track. It will be RX-8 to take on S15. Away they go. A screaming rotary underneath the bonnet of that RX-8 as he fires in. Stephen Hatcher on the line. Lovely job so far. Nick Hang though. Whoa, how did Nick Hang pull that transition off? Almost took both of them out of it completely. And Stephen Hatcher, big angle, fast transition into the wall. As Nick Hang looks for the side once again, makes a dive. Oh, has to back out of it ever so slightly to avoid contact. Stephen Hatcher, pinpoint perfect.
Yeah, that is a phenomenal lead run. And, two very good-looking cars out there as well, in my opinion. And I'll put it this way, Ian. It's millimeters at this stage. That transition right there from Nick Hang was phenomenal. These guys are putting a lot of risk out there. They're risking a big collision at some point, and I'm just wondering how long are we going to watch this until something's going to give, until someone's going to have a huge crash, because we are getting lucky every transition that they're not having a crash. And it goes to show the talent and the skill and the ability that all these guys have. But yeah, I'm in agreement here. Nick Hang doing a good job. Great lead run from Stephen Hatcher. The big point now is if Stephen Hatcher can go out there and put on a phenomenal show with that RX-8, he could take the win here. It's there for the taking.
It certainly is. I think for me it was just the angle that Stephen Hatcher was throwing down. No messing around. Can he repeat that? Can he do it in the chase position? Nick Hang nice and wide on the outside line. Shallows up. And look at that response from Hatcher on that transition. You can go closer and go even closer. And once again mirrors the transition now. And Stephen Hatcher puts a little bit too much angle in it this time. But then back on the throttle, onto the door he goes of Nick Hang's S15. And across the line go both those guys.
From my perspective right there, I don't know if there's much more you can do to get yourself into the top 8 than Stephen Hatcher did there. Incredible proximity. Well, you got to hand it to Nick Hang. Great lead run. Did everything the judges asked of him. And as they came to this point, I was kind of thinking this is pretty neck and neck. And up until the end of the run, you could just see Stephen back off a little bit there, have to cut the corner a little bit. That was the only error he kind of made, but he was right back there by the end of the run. This is a close one, another close one for me. And no major errors to report from either side.
No. And do you know what? I just think the lead from Stephen Hatcher, just the angle he carried, how smooth it was, and how nice it was for me the clinical point. That was the seal of the deal, Dave.
You even see the bumper attachments, like those little hooks that keep the wing of the bumper together. The detail on these cars is just, it's intense.
The discs, you can see all the ST suspension coilovers, the Wisefab running gear, every single thing.
It's just amazing how far this, online drifting has come. That I think in a couple of years it's going to be tough to tell whether you're watching online or the real thing. Who's up next? Chris is going to one more time. Another one more time. Judges not making a decision. Chris went with Stephen Hatcher, but it looks like the other two judges were not convinced.
Well, we get to see these guys go at it again. And wonder what the deciding factor was there, Dave.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it could have been that little error towards that last wall from Stephen Hatcher. I mean, I pointed it out. It was a bit of an error, a bit of a cut of the track. That might have been weighed a little bit heavily on, and might have balanced off his very good angle from the lead run, and then you kind of end up at even Stevens again. So that could be the case. I'm not entirely sure, and I'm no expert, but from my perspective, I think that's probably the best thing. We had sirens on there on the top of the car, but it was just the brake lights.
To be honest with you, Dave, I could watch these guys go all day anyway. Steve Hatcher's car, I love it. I love the S15, and just the runs, the angle, the speed, perfect.
I think this, when they get to the one more time stage for me, it's all about holding your nerve here, because I think there's always a susceptibility now to go super aggressive and go crazy, and then you kind of lose it for yourself. So hopefully we don't have that issue right now, and as you can see, Stephen Hatcher not having the issue so far, as it looks like a bit of understeer in the chase position from Nick Hang. First big mistake of this battle, and it may be costly, as Stephen Hatcher again, big angle, no such worries there, and now you can see Nick Hang has to go close here, has to try and make up for that error, but that error was the first big error we've seen between these two guys.
Yeah, I think I don't think there's any coming back from that unless Stephen Hatcher throws this one away in the chase position. Look at this from Stephen Hatcher, one absolutely perfect job. Too quick on the transition from Nick Hang, that was the problem. He had to brake and then reinitiate, and that made him understeer through that centre part.
I think there was a little contact there, Ian. I think that actually Stephen Hatcher's car transitioning just stopped Nick Hang's car from transitioning. A little tiny bit of contact, and as you said, just too quick on the transition, too early. And they're pushing in, they're going to get that close, it's going to happen. But yeah, from my perspective right now, it looks to me very like it's going to be all advantage Stephen Hatcher. Nick Hang in the lead position, so there's not much he can do really. It's up to Stephen Hatcher not really to throw it away and stay pretty aggressive here.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, off the line comes Nick Hang, Stephen Hatcher. Hang to lead, Hatcher to give chase. Now Hatcher starts to get aggressive on the initiation. Nick Hang very wide, nice job. Stephen Hatcher shallows up the angle. Whoa, incredible transition, makes it pay off. But look at that front wheel, absolutely locked. Smoke comes from the front wheel. Oh, contact on the transition. That's going to throw Hang way off. Oh no, what are we seeing again? Could we see another one more time?
I was just about to say he didn't have to be that close, and he was. And it looked to me like Stephen Hatcher tagged the rear end of Nick Hang's car and not allowing him to transition. Similar mistake that Hang did in the first run.
Yeah, watch this. See, nice job so far from Nick Hang as he makes his way down the circuit. Look at this front wheel lock up, completely locked up, shallow angle, but then transition way too early. Pushes Nick Hang off the circuit.
Is that a bigger mistake? I think it's a bigger mistake. I think that's a bigger mistake. I think that's handed this battle to Nick Hang. I think that's a bigger mistake that Hang made. I mean, Hang straightened a little bit but got back into it. Stephen Hatcher was all over the place after that one. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's all just take a moment to enjoy the rotary sound from the RX-8. It's beautiful. But it might not
Canadian
be enough to get
it. Let's see, Stephen Hatcher's Canadian.
Yeah,
we've been missing that trick as well. Yeah, we've been missing that trick as well, Dave. The door cards are representing all their home countries.
Yeah, this is a beautiful looking car, but I don't know if it's enough to have it. I mean, in my world, maybe having a beautiful car might get you through, but in the drifting world, with our judges Chris, David, and Kevin, I don't think so. I think it's going to be interesting what way to decide this, because I think, from my personal opinion, Stephen Hatcher's mistake was nearly a worse collision at a worse point of the track than where Nick Hang had his issue. You know, he had a straighten as well. Oh, it's hard to know, but definitely Hatcher affected Nick Hang more and put him off the track with two wheels than Nick Hang affected Hatcher when he just gave him that little thump in the back. So that's just what I'm at with it. I mean, I have been known to be wrong once every 4 or 5 years, so this could be the time.
This could be it, Dave. This could be the time.
This could be the moment. It could be the moment. But yeah, let's see which way the judges go. They're having a good discussion about this one anyway, so yeah, they're definitely not. It's not as clear cut as we might think. What do you think, Ian?
You know, I'm just replaying it in my mind, Dave, and I'm wondering what is going on and what has happened, and I don't know. I just don't know how to call this one. He was bringing the aggression, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, Dave.
I think personally, I think the first battle was easier to call than this one, in my opinion. So they went to it one more time and it got worse. It got harder to call because you have two big errors on both runs. Both of them almost identical errors, to be honest. So it's going to be over who made the bigger error. And that is a very hard sort of thing to do, is say who made the bigger error.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Decision is in.
It's a one more time again. They didn't even make a decision. They went with one. And you know what? I actually think that's the fair call. The fair call there is it goes one more time again, simply because it's a similar mistake. Doing donuts now to celebrate. Get another one more time. These guys are celebrating track time. That's what they're doing, Ian.
Yeah, I think
to go and do it again.
I think it's the right call.
Yeah, well, I mean, if we couldn't call it and you couldn't call it, generally we do say one more time is probably on the cards, and that was exactly what happened.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think one more time was the perfect call for it. You know, mistakes backwards and forwards, and just trying to get a clean battle is probably the right answer for this one.
I'd be a fan of letting the boys settle it on the track. You know, not just in the technicalities. So, can we see Stephen Hatcher and Nick Hang again? Will we probably see another crash? Probably, I would imagine. Then we've had a little bit of contact on the first runs. We've had massive contact on the second runs, and here comes the third runs. What are we expecting?
Well, I'm expecting big angle from Stephen Hatcher and door-on-door action from Nick Hang. We're about to find out. We'll wait for those lights to light up. It will be Hatcher to lead, Hang to give chase. And here we go. These guys, well, they've not done it once, they've done it twice. This is the third time lucky. Big separation though. Nick Hang held back massively there. And look at the angle once again from Stephen Hatcher. That slows him down and allows Nick Hang to get onto the door. Look at Nick Hang not messing around. He is hungry for the win right now as he edges that S15 all over the side with that Mazda RX. Oh, Hatcher gets himself in the wall. He holds onto it. And Hang just about avoids contact.
Well, from my perspective right now, I think, again, that run-up so divisive. I mean, Hang has to throw into that first corner at very little angle. I mean, that's not what the judges want. Stephen Hatcher left him for dead. And then I kind of think maybe, you know, Stephen Hatcher's looking pretty solid here, big angle. And then he comes towards the wall. I think he tries to take a bit of too big a bite out here. It hits the wall. It actually is Nick Hang who straightens him or puts him back into angle again. And they both get across the line. But the walls here are very unforgiving. You don't get that flex in the car similar to the real world. I think it's actually easier to run the wall in the real world because you get that flex for the back end of the car. Here, the back end of the car is quite solid. So if you do hit it, it's very obvious to see the mistake. Here we go, switching around. Nick Hang in the lead position. Stephen Hatcher in the chase position. Lighting up those tyres on the straight. And looks like, Hang going for a massive entry halfway up the straight, and he pulls it off.
Yeah, he certainly does pull it off. Stephen Hatcher all over the side of the wall, and Stephen Hatcher almost making contact. Look at Stephen Hatcher. He wants this win, doesn't mess up the transition this time, and Stephen Hatcher gets all over the side of Nick Hang's S15, holds onto it one more time, and Stephen Hatcher looks out and says, buddy, this is all mine.
And you know what? Even that wall, little tap on the first run is probably no issue right now. I mean, look how close he is on initiation. Wow. And what I love about this is, look at it, Stephen Hatcher is in the outer zone in the chase position. That's a big move there, because normally you're dropping a little bit on the inside of the track, but he's right on the edge of the track. Like, he's going through all the clipping zones. You could take that chase run from Stephen Hatcher and it would probably, you know, be top 5 qualifying run. and that is unusual. So that is a phenomenal chase run. Hopefully it's outdone the stuff from the first run, but you take nothing away from Nick Hang. He's been an amazing competitor. I think that has been an obvious one. Stephen Hatcher just took that little bit more aggression, a little bit more style, and after 78 different battles, we have a winner between Nick Hang and Stephen Hatcher. We might have to have just a Steve Hatcher, Nick Hang face off for a full another time. But right now it is Stephen Hatcher going through to the top 8. Our top 8 has been decided. Our drone pilot, virtual drone pilot, well, he's going crazy all over the place. So we have 8 drivers. I'm looking at my little stats in front of me here, and I've got a stacked top 8 in front of me, Ian. I'm excited. That was probably definitely the face-off of the whole competition between Hatcher and Hang. I mean, that was everything we expected from this championship. Now we've got Alan Hines. We talked about him being the favorite, going up against Christian Petrov. We've got Lucas Tamaski going up against Pavel Korpelinski. Connor Shannon against Stephen Jarbo in the RX-7. Brandon Meehan against Stephen Hatcher. And Meehan and Hatcher was probably the one I'm looking at here saying this is going to be very, very close. We've started, I'm sure you guys at home are starting to learn a little bit about these drivers. So you're starting to see who's got the talent, who can hold their nerve. Alan Hines, I would say, probably a little untested right now. He's about to get very tested by Christian Petrov.
I think you're right there, Dave. And Alan Hines is a little bit untested. He got the bye run in that top 32. Look, don't let that fool you, that he's been untested. He was our first place qualifier today in competition. Hours and hours of experience on the sim. Incredible driver in real life. Is he the contester for the win here today? I don't know, because from what we've seen from Hatcher and Brandon and me, and these guys are not messing around.
Well, we have 4 battles in our top 8, and that's how the math works, Ian, and I've worked it out. And out of those 4 battles, we have 3 face-offs between a real-world driver and a virtual driver. I'm just saying, that is pretty interesting when you think about it. And the guys who are those virtual or the real-life drivers, they're also big heavyweights in the virtual world as well. So what we haven't watched here is a driver come from the real world, just jump on the sim and make it work. That hasn't happened. We've watched a lot of virtual drifters sort of fold a little bit under the pressure, which we expected a little bit at the start. And now we've got, I think, a very deserved top 8. So I'm really excited to see what happens next. We're gridding them up at the moment on the track. And I think, make a call. I think it's very hard to look past Alan Hines and Connor Shannon. Those guys are obviously going to stand out as the stars. I think Korpelinski, to me, is one that you can't ignore there. A very, very solid driver, but was a little bit aggressive, maybe over-aggressive in some of his battles. And then the rest of the guys left from the virtual side are absolute sharks here because they've been just chewing through. I think Stephen Hatcher's got a big advantage. He's just had, 2 or 3 more battles than everybody else, so he's in the zone now. So I'm thinking Stephen Hatcher's looking strong. I think Brandon Meehan is also looking very strong. I don't know. This is going to come right down to the wire. We're going to have 3 guys on the podium. It's round 1. Remember, all of these drivers are thrown into that final, which is round 5, and we're going to get another fresh batch of drivers coming in for round 2. So we're going to be building stars here right throughout the whole competition. I'm excited to see who of anybody here is going to shine because, I think Alan Hines is probably sitting at home, very confident, saying, I've been in all these virtual championships. I know how they work. I've done the most practice. But that said, upsets. Look at Peter Viantek going out in the top 32, and anything can happen.
Anything can happen, Dave. And you know what? I'm going to go out there on a limb. I'm going to go out there on a limb. I'm going to say, I think Brandon Meehan's going to be in the final.
You think Brandon Meehan's going to do it?
Yeah, do you know, I just got that feeling. Watching his driving style, the lead runs, the chase runs are just everything that you'd want, from in the real world as well as in the virtual. I think Stephen Hatcher, don't get me wrong, is a very, very good driver, but there's a few mistakes creeping in there, and I think that could fall foul in this Great 8.
Yeah, I think Lucas Tazemski is another guy that's been kind of dark horsing through here. Some very solid runs. We haven't spoken a lot about him because he's just kind of run through everybody. I mean, if you look at Craig Fulgham, he was looking pretty good, and then just business as usual for Lukasz Tazemski. So I think we've got 8 drivers here that all are capable of winning. And I'll put it another way. I wouldn't be surprised at any of these 8 drivers if they win it. That's how strong the competition is.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I agree completely there, Dave. And do you know what, Dave? Just to really upset the apple cart, I'd love if a virtual drifter won this event today.
I think saying is a bit of a crazy car to choose for this championship, but he's going up against Connor Shannon. That's going to be another big one. And as you said, Brandon Mee and Stephen Hatcher, I mean, I wouldn't even call that one. I think that's absolutely 50-50 for me. So we're going to have those 4 battles. We're going to end up with 2 guys going into the semi-final, or 4 guys going into the semi-finals. We're getting to the business end of the championship. We've only got 20% of this round left. These guys are left in that last 20%, but who's going to take it home? Alan Hines will be in the lead position as your highest qualifier, going up against Christian Petrov in that S14 in the chase. Petrov has been on fire all day. Hines got a bye run. Go in here and put a very strong lead run in.
It certainly is, David. Look at that nice big opposite flick. Look at Hines on the edge of the circuit. Rear wheel to the line. Whoa, wow! How did Petrov hold that transition? How did he even make that happen? And again, goes for it once again. As Alan Hines transitions into the outside zone, looks for the wall. Petrov loses a little bit of ground. Needs to step on the gas and find the side of the S15 once again. As Petrov really throws up an exclamation mark here in competition.
Whew. I mean, from my perspective right there, I'm pretty sure that Alan Hines has got a fight on his hands. The transitions, yes, not perfect angle for Petrov, but the proximity and precision was perfect. He did not show any fear here throughout the whole course. And again, Alan Hines puts in that near 100-point perfect run. Until then, tags the wall, little too aggressive, only error from him. Leaves a little bit on the table for Petrov, but yeah, Alan Hines is going to be chomping at the bit here to get out there and get on the door, because I think Alan Hines will be a little disappointed with that little waiver on the wall. He'll want to just correct that. And Petrov, though, he is a beast out there.
Yeah, he was not messing around. But he knows that Alan Hines was the first place qualifier, and he will know that he can trust Hines on the transitions and to go fast. Well, here we go. Down they come. Christian Petrov to lead in Alan Hines. Alan Hines not messing around. He knows what the question was, and has he got the answer? Looks like he has right now as Alan Hines starts replying with those big transitions. Fired through the middle of the circuit. Hines bumper to bumper as Christian Petrov puts that back end of the S14 to the wall. Alan Hines replies once again by parking that Pro Drift Academy S15 onto the door of Petrov's S14.
Wow, I mean, we are seeing guys really fighting for that podium spot. I mean, it's only the top 8 and we're already getting final level battles here. And as you can see, Alan Hines doing a phenomenal job in the chase. And look, I'll put it this way, from my perspective, Ian, not much between them in both battles, but Hines looking the classier driver.
Yeah, and I agree 100% there, Dave. The transitions, the timing, the angle on transitions and the lead. Was the wall tap, the little wobble too much? I don't know. I think the aggression and the cleanliness of the chase from Alan Hines will probably get him into that top 4.
Yeah, I would agree. Sorry, I had a little technical difficulty there, Ian. I was just froze for a moment. I was trying to refresh, and I'm back in again. And here we go. Who's going to take it home? Will it be Hines or will it be Petrov? Hines gets the win. He's into the top 4. First of our top 4 competitors confirmed. The semi-final will stack up first with Alan Hines in there. And now we move on to our next battle. Korpelinski, Tazemski, Ian. Big one here.
Big one here, as you say. Tazemski, you called him the dark horse. He is the black ball. He's come out of nowhere and he's starting to take down the competition. Right now, he has to take on Pavel Korpelinski, who not only is a heavy hitter in real life, he's been doing a very good job today on the sim. They come through the start line chicane, smoking wheels, big initiation very early back from Tazemski. Korpelinski keeps his cool, holds it together as he dives onto the side, jumps onto the back bumper, and then once again finds the side of that S14. Korpelinski looking to dispatch yet another virtual drifter as he backs that BMW 2 Series into that outside zone, into the wall, and Tazemski makes a little wobble there as he brings it across the line.
Wow, I mean, it's almost like Korpelinski sort of like it was like a bow and arrow. He kind of pulled back and then dived straight forward into. I mean, the first corner, a little bit of off throttle there from the lead driver. Wasn't a fan of that. And then Korpelinski doing a good job of getting onto the door for the rest of the course. And watch this, Korpelinski sort of, it's like he kind of loads up here and then just fires himself into the door of the car in the lead position. Really nice driving from both guys here. A little bit of a wobble, as you mentioned, from Tazemski. Just not enough, I think, to cause a big problem, but you know, it's still going to be noted by the judges. Korpelinski doing a great job in the chase position, super aggressive. And I mean, is he any other way?
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way. Tazemski now needs to really show some more authority and just keep doing what he's been doing all competition. But Korpolinski is no lightweight right now. Korpolinski fires that 2 series in nice and high into the outside zone. Tazemski all over the side of him though. Early transition from Tazemski, gets himself on the middle of the circuit and then finds himself in the outside zone a little bit too early. Tazemski making a hash of this one, he needs to clean it up. As Tazemski dives onto the side too early, makes contact with Korpolinski. Korpolinski holds himself together as Tazemski gets glued onto the door of that BMW 2 series.
Yeah, from my perspective right now, it's, yeah, I don't know. I think it might have been too little too late for Tazemski.
Yeah.
I think Korpolinski did a really good job. You can see here, he's really trying Tazemski, but he's just kind of a little bit shallow on angle. And then as they come towards this last corner, I mean, he does a good job getting in, but I think he hits him, has to break off a little bit. To be fair, they both stay in it, but it would be deemed as an error. I mean, he's a little bit too aggressive. He's making contact. Yeah, my good feeling is Korpolinski, but I could be wrong here.
No, I think I'm willing to go with you there, Dave. I just don't think. I think the mistakes that Tazemski made in that chase were just too much drove away, and Korpolinski was rock steady the whole way through that battle, both runs. As you said, we're not the guys who have to make that decision, luckily enough.
No, we can just speculate. We can accumulate our speculation, and we cannot make any decisions. And what we have to do is wait for the judges to drop their scores in. This could be one more time. I mean, again, it's getting so tight now. Maybe we're honing a little bit too much in on some small mistakes because everybody's just so good. Like, there's no real crazy spins or going off track or crazy errors. So we're going down to the finest, most minute detail.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so hard to split these guys, and I wouldn't want to be in that judging position because, you know, we're splitting hairs when it comes down to the mistakes, and I think you have to, because these guys are so good at what they do.
Absolutely, and I think the other side of it is that, you know, the reward for winning this battle is to go head-to-head with Alan Hines, so there's no real reward. It's going to be tough all the way, and that's just the semi-final. So there's a long road for a lot of these guys to get there to that final and become the round one winner of the Drift Masters Virtual Championship. Once again, I want to give a big thank you to all of our partners, All In Games, Budmat, LIQUI.EU, FMIC.EU, LIQUI, MOLY, and ST Suspension. Thank you guys for all of your support. Always support the products that support Drift Masters, and those guys have been supporting us on and off track over the last and pretty difficult year, so we want to give them a big shout out. They've been a big motivating factor behind this championship, behind everything that goes into it. So let's see who is going through to our top four. It is going to be another one more time from the judges. Nothing separating the drivers, and again, we thought Korpolinski had edged it. Not the case with the judges.
No, not the case with the judges, and yeah, you know, just not as clean maybe, or a few things creeping into that battle that they didn't want to see. So back to the start line they go. Korpolinski will lead out Tazemski. I think, is that the right way around? Tazemski leads Korpolinski to give chase for the first half of the battle.
Korpolinski will be chasing in the first half of the battle, you are correct. And as I mentioned before, we've got some big heavyweight battles coming your way. We've got Conor Shanahan going up against Stephen Jarbo. We've got Brandon Meehan against Stephen Hatcher. So the action just keeps on coming thick and fast here at round one of the Drift Masters Virtual Championship. Brought to you by All In Games, Budmat, LIQUI.EU, FMIC, LIQUI, MOLY, ST Suspension. Korpolinski and Tazemski couldn't be separated. Now they go one more time. Korpolinski will be in the chase in that BMW M2. Tazemski in that S14 in the lead. Lights out and away we go.
Away we go, we do. Tazemski to lead out Korpolinski. Tazemski knows what he needs to do. Can he make it happen this time? Very, very wide, fast transition and initiation up onto the wall. But look at Korpolinski there. No separating them whatsoever, as Korpolinski is glued to Tazemski this time. Tazemski on a perfect lead line. Doesn't even bump up the curb on transition. Gets in to the wall ride. And look at Korpolinski. They are glued together as they finish up the run.
I mean, where do you go from here, Ian? I mean, at this stage now, we are as close. I mean, we think back to the first couple of battles that we watched. We expect that we'd be getting to this level so soon in the competition. Incredible. Korpolinski, they're just timing this absolutely perfect. Every transition is almost identical, which is incredible. I mean, it's a very difficult technique. It's just as difficult as real drifting when it comes to the technique element. Yes, you might not have the danger element or the speed, but you do have the technique element, and these guys are showing incredible technique on track.
They certainly are, Dave. I mean, I don't even know some of those transitions and the proximity to Korpolinski is incredible. Can Tazemski answer that? Has he got it in him to answer that question? Well, he's going to have to try and do something right now as they fire in onto the door, and Korpolinski perfectly placed on the outside edge of the track. But Tazemski leaves a little bit of room to be answered there. Oh, and collision as Tazemski hits Korpolinski in the middle of the circuit. As now Korpolinski once again transitions into the outside zone. Tazemski shallows up the angle. Look at the angle from Korpolinski as he puts the back end of that BMW on the wall. Tazemski, a few mistakes creeping into this one.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more obvious than the first set of battles. And again, that's why the judges want to go one more time. They don't want anyone to go out in a very small technicality. And good proximity again from Tazemski in the chase position. Korpolinski, this is the hit. It's a heavy hit, but they stay in it. It is a mistake, but at the same time, they both get on with the business from there. And you can see that he really wants it to them. He's probably pushing that little bit too hard, a little bit too much contact. Korpolinski, though, solid lead run. I'm not too sure. I mean, great aggression from the chase driver. Perfect, flawless lead run. Judges not making it any easier, Ian.
No, exactly. They haven't really been given a clear cut. No one spun. There was no off-track moments. Just a little bit of contact in the middle of the circuit. Was that enough? Did judges deem that enough to take it away from Tazemski and give it to Korpolinski? I'm not sure. I
mean, will they go one more time again? Will it be a winner? It's Pavel Korpolinski getting the win. They have a winner here. It is Pavel Korpolinski goes into the semi-final. He will go head-to-head with Alan Hines in the first half, and we move it along to our next battle. Conor Shanahan, the young Irishman, Red Bull athlete. He is a man who's been dominating on the circuits across Ireland, the UK, and Europe. He now moves into the virtual world. He goes up against a relative unknown, Stephen Jarbo, in the wide arch RX-7. Jarbo coming in as the underdog, in my opinion, but Shanahan still has to get the job done here, and Jarbo's been looking very strong. This is for a spot in the top 4. Will it be Jarbo? Will it be Shanahan? It's lights out, and away we go in a few moments for both of these guys. And from my perspective right now, this is a big chance for Jarbo to make a name for himself, Ian.
It certainly is, Dave, and at the moment in that final 4 we only have Driftmasters European drivers in there. Can Jarbo be the first virtual drifter into that final 4? He's got to get through Shanahan first. They come screaming through the gears down into the initiation. Jarbo makes a little dive at the back of Shanahan's S15 as Shanahan gets himself set up perfectly in the outside zone. Jarbo's there, but contact made. As you see, Conor Shanahan's car just glitch and flick across the track. Jarbo once again depth-defying transition as he looks for that Red Bull S15. Stephen Jarbo looking for the side once again, but Shanahan absolutely dialed on the wall and across the line.
Yeah, it looked very strong for both drivers again there, Ian. Of course, if you're watching in at home, thank you for joining us for round 1 of the Driftmasters Virtual Championship. You're watching the best in the biz. Go out there on a virtual Riga circuit and try and fight it out. What's in line? Well, a drive of Peter Wiańczak's Pro Formula Drift S15. That is what's on the line for all of these drivers from the virtual world. That's why they're fighting so hard out there. And if you're watching in from anywhere in the world, let us know. Also, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, hit that share button. Hit the share button. Get it out to your friends and family. It's all of a party here as we head towards the business end of this competition. Shanahan looking strong on the first run. Jarbo with work to do here, Ian.
Yeah, he certainly has got work to do here, Dave. As Jarbo comes off the line, that lead position, Shanahan knows what was going on in the background. Oh, Shanahan gets a little bit too aggressive there. Jarbo fires it in. Shanahan over-aggressive, though, makes contact with Stephen Jarbo as they come down into that first front clipping point. And Jarbo once again getting jabs on the side from Conor Shanahan as Jarbo looks for the outside zone. Shanahan all over him. Gives him some room to make that manoeuvre and transition. Now Shanahan not got the proximity, doesn't get as close as what Jarbo does to finish up the run. Some errors creeping in there for Conor Shanahan.
Very strong first 2/3 of the run from Shanahan. Just maybe not as close on the second. A little bit of contact on the initiation as well. Question of whether Jarbo, stayed on that front brake a little bit too. A lot of left foot braking from Jarbo throughout the course, but it's allowed as long as the car doesn't slow at a rapid pace. And you can see Shanahan adjusting to that lead car there right throughout the course. Shanahan, did he have a contact with the wall? No, just a little bit cautious towards the last corner. Still, both drivers looking very strong. Again, another one I wouldn't like to decide. I'm sure you guys at home are feeling like we're feeling, that this is getting very close at the business end. Very hard to decide a winner.
Yeah, very, very hard to decide a winner right now. But, Shanahan did a very, very good job in the first half of the battle. Was it enough to seal the deal?
Yeah, I think Shanahan definitely the stronger in the first half of the battle. In the second half, not making any errors, but he has a bit of contact on the first corner and a little bit of a lack of proximity on the second. But Jarbo, you know, a lot of front brake usage, kind of not the fastest through the course. Maybe that cancels each other out, I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly that, Dave. So, if we're not clear, are the judges clear? Could this go one more time? A lot of comments saying one more time. A lot of people asking for a one more time, Dave. Want to see these guys go at it again?
Yeah, we might see it one more time. I don't know. I mean, you know, the judges are having a long discussion on this, which generally to me means that they have quite a few technical points to bring up here. So it's not as cut and dry as, you know, the longer the discussion goes on, I think the longer you're likely to see it one more time. That would be my kind of opinion on it, because they're obviously debating over which error was bigger or worse. So we'll see exactly what happens in a few moments. I'm liking that RX-7 without the spoiler and the wide arch. Strange rear lights though, as kind of 6 rear lights. Nice though. I think it.
Well, there we go. Decision is in, and it is going to be a one more time. A split decision panel, Dave. Judges couldn't give it one way or the other, so we're going to see it again.
Sure, they were still cycling. So, yeah, I missed just at the very end of that, but I didn't miss any of the action, which is the most important thing.
That is the most important thing ever.
And we are now ready to send this battle. As I presume we're going one more time in, because they're both back at the start line.
They certainly are, Dave. We're going to go at it again. Shanahan to lead out Jarbo for a spot in that final four. Conor Shanahan fires in. Oh, now mistakes start creeping in from Stephen Jarbo. Way down the inside of the circuit there. You can see him now trying to find the side of that Red Bull S15. Does gain that proximity back, but Shanahan on perfect lead at the moment. Nice transition back. Oh, Jarbo makes contact, finds himself in the middle of the circuit. Scrappy from Jarbo. He starts to fall apart under pressure, Dave.
Yeah, that looked like some big mistakes from Jarbo towards the end there. So I'm not exactly sure what happened, Jarbo, but I think he went a little too aggressive from the off.
Exactly that, Dave. I just think he knew he had to throw it all in there, and it was just too much.
Well, that's from my perspective. You know, this is the problem one more time, Ian. If you go back out there and you try and go back at it again, you push that a little bit hard, and maybe on your first run you were pushing as hard as you should have been. And yeah, Jarbo definitely this time with much more pronounced errors than there were in the first half of the first original battle.
So there we go. They go swap around. They put Jarbo now to lead out Shanahan.
And the
Shanahan,
lights.
I think. Yeah, the lights go out, Dave. And I think Shanahan, Dave, I think he knows he doesn't have to do too much now.
I think he's going to play this pretty cool. I think he's coming into that first corner. He's got the pace in that car, it looks like, to be able to kind of toy with his opponent. And if you look at it from this point of view, he's doing exactly, you know, kind of coming in nice and close, nice close transitions. Jarbo's going pretty wide, good lead run though. And Shanahan gets himself caught in the middle, and that's an error from Shanahan, unless they look at Jarbo's, you know, slowing there in that position. But it looked to me like Shanahan got himself caught along the wall.
I'd like to see a replay of that. You mentioned he braked, Dave. Was it enough? That is a D-cell part. You know, you'd expect the driver to be braking in that area.
Yeah, a lot of left foot braking from Jarbo. You can see the car does just kind of slow. But watch this part here. Does he slow too much? No, it's hard to know.
I don't know, Dave. I don't know.
Whatever happened anyway, Conor Shanahan became a wall and car sandwich very quick. So he definitely had nowhere to go there. They got back on it, but if you know, from my perspective, if that was a real incident in the real world, you'd be seeing a lot of suspension damage on Conor Shanahan's car. So I think the judges are going to weigh, as they are weighing all night, on it being very realistic. And I think we'll have to see what way to decide. If Jarbo slowed too much, we know Shanahan's got the win. If Shanahan just went too aggressive, we know Jarbo's got the win. So that's the easy way, but whichever way those arrows go.
Yeah, I'm unsure, Dave. I think this could go one more time again.
Yeah, I think definitely the second run, that was a bigger mistake, whichever way it went. It was definitely a bigger effect. So, you know, you take a couple of scrappy bits from Jarbo from the first run, and then the second run, does it balance it out? Oh, it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to know what.
You guys are watching
looking at this.
If you guys are watching on the stream, let us know. What do you think? What do you know? No one judges better than the internet. We've heard that before. And from our perspective, if you guys want to come on board and tell us what you think, let us know where you're watching from around the world. That's another thing. We want to hear all the crazy places you guys are watching this from. Have you enjoyed it? Have you been enjoying the action so far? Are you looking forward to the rest of the season? Is it filling the gap, the adrenaline-filled gap that you need from Drift Masters while we wait for the launch of the official 2021 season? Are you guys admiring the skill? Are you admiring the talent?
Oh, there we go. Shanahan gets the win. Dave advances through to the final four.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're hearing is a little bit too much braking from Jarbo in those full throttle areas, and we've seen it happen before tonight, and it's happened again. And Shanahan gets the call, and he's going through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, it certainly is, Dave. We go back to the start line. Brandon, me, and Stephen Hatcher. One I've been looking forward to. Hatcher with that incredible angle. He just drives this car on full angle all the time, full throttle. But Brandon Meehan been a guy that has been absolutely coming in here and just taking over so far. Can he continue that as Stephen Hatcher leads out Brandon Meehan for a final spot in the final four, Dave?
Yeah, and of course, to remind everyone that the only decel zone on this track is that against the wall. When you get to the wall, you can decel there, not before it. So this is going to be a big one. It's going to be Hatcher in the lead position. It's going to be Meehan in the chase. And look at Meehan. He's coming for it already as they go into that first corner. Hatcher out on the outer zone. So is Meehan. This is what we came to see from these two guys all night. Perfect transitions. And now Meehan comes inches from Hatcher on the transition as Hatcher now throws it back to the wall, and Meehan is right there. Hatcher absolutely bouncing off that concrete wall, putting in that aggressive display, but Meehan right there with him. That lived up to the hype, Ian. Perfect from lead and chase.
Well, that was exactly what I wanted to see. Stephen Hatcher did not disappoint in that lead run, but that chase from Brandon Meehan was just as good. A little bit of lack of proximity, Dave, throughout that run. But look at Stephen Hatcher, damn at the foot brake, that transition, clinical, unbelievable. This is where it all goes wrong a little bit though from Brandon Meehan, though. You can see he puts a little bit too much angle and then struggles to get that proximity back. But Stephen Hatcher in the RX-8, incredible.
And now he's in the chase position, but Meehan has been really good in that lead position as well. I mean, Hatcher, you mentioned it, he is sometimes too aggressive. We've watched him go one more time, countless times tonight from just making small errors. Can he hold it together? Can he get himself into that top four? Can he be the only non-professional real-world driver to get into the top four? He's about to find out.
Well, there we go, Dave. They fire down Meehan in that lead position. Whoa, Stephen Hatcher not messing around, throwing caution to the wind as he glues that RX-8 to the side of that S13. They come through the centre of the circuit, down onto the wall they go. Hatcher gives Meehan some room to manoeuvre. Now Hatcher starts to find the side, edges in, noses that RX-8 onto the door. Deal done, Dave. No questions asked from Hatcher.
Yeah, I mean, the first half of the course, it took him a little bit to get into it, and then he just brought that masterclass from there on in. I still think it's close, Ian. I think it's close between both runs, but that transition and a little bit of contact there as well. All the aggression in the world from Stephen Hatcher. He knew he had to bring it. He knew Brandon Meehan was top drawer all night. And from my perspective, I mean, you look at that semi-final, it's going to be Alan Hines against Korpelinski, Connor Shanahan against the winner of this. You've got three real-world drivers that have made it into the top four. We didn't expect that, but now it's up to one of these guys right now to go in there and try and put a, you know, what, as they say, a cat amongst the pigeons, and try and get in there and, you know, take home this title for the virtual drivers from around the world. That's what they're trying to do, represent the guys online. And so far, you got the real-world guys doing a really good job.
You certainly have, Dave, and they have done a really good job so far. But like you say, cat amongst the pigeons, I think if you throw Stephen Hatcher into that mix, we're going to see a real cat amongst the pigeons, because that was an incredible run, lead and chase.
Well, Ian is pretty convinced it's going to be Stephen Hatcher. I'm still sitting on the fence a little bit on this one. I think there was some great moments from both drivers. I'm calling Switzerland on this and just staying neutral until those scores come in. And let's see which one of these drivers takes it home, and we can just admire the beautiful virtual machinery. I'm getting into RX-8s for some reason. This RX-8.
Do you know what? I'm on eBay looking right now, Dave.
I'm sitting there going, RX-8s, they're cheap and awesome. So, yeah, they might be the last cheap Japanese car left in the world. So get on them before they're expensive. So, yeah, let's see which way it goes. I'm from my perspective right now, I'd like to be... Yeah, from my perspective, I think, just thinking out loud, Stephen Hatcher did the right job, did the right stuff. But I'm wondering, you know, he did have a wobble here and there. So, I don't know. It's very hard. I would not like to be a decision. And I would not like to be a decision. I would not like to be a judge. I would not like to be a decision if it was, you know, I'm out. Okay, let's see which way it goes. I'm going a little bit crazy because it's been that exciting. One more time. I told you, Ian, you're wrong again. Virtual world and the real world. I was hanging in there for kind of, I couldn't split them. You were very confident in Stephen Hatcher. Well, the judges said, Ian, you're a moron. It's a one more time.
Well, listen, I may be a moron, but Stephen Hatcher is an incredible driver. It was a close one, a very, very close one. I'm still Stephen Hatcher fan. I'm still going to root for him when it comes into the second half of this, into this one more time. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Brandon now. I'm rooting for Brandon Meehan here because I think he's held on there. I don't think we saw the best of what he's capable of. So now he can try and step it up a little bit from there. But I think, you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing these two guys throw down again. This is definitely one battle I'm not annoyed that it's gone one more time. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, same. There we go. Stephen Hatcher on the line. Brandon Meehan to give chase. Hatcher leading them both out. The lights light up. They go out. They are good to go. Both guys eager to get this one done. Hatcher off the line like a scolded cat as he flicks at RX-8 across the track. Look at the line from Hatcher. Oh, he goes a little bit wide, but Brandon Meehan gets himself caught up, has to shallow up the angle. Now Meehan shallows up and struggles to find the proximity, struggles to find the side of that RX-8. But Stephen Hatcher keeps his cool, dials it onto the wall, absolutely perfect. But Meehan is right there now. Meehan finds that proximity and gets onto the side of Stephen Hatcher's RX-8.
Yeah, I think that's a stronger chase run for me in there and one more time than there was on the initial. He's pushing that a little bit closer. Little snap on the transition, gets up onto the door. We're seeing a lot of contact now as we get to the business end of this championship round. And Meehan did a good job. Just, yeah, it could have been a little closer there. The transition's maybe not as exciting as Stephen Hatcher was bringing his chase runs. And big angle there, just about held it. It looked good. But, you know, I think Stephen Hatcher, as you mentioned, is the guy that can bring that little bit of X factor, that can go a little bit too, you know, a little bit further than maybe Meehan has shown there. But then Hatcher can also make mistakes.
So there we go. We're going to wait to see the second half of this one more time battle. Brandon Meehan now to lead out. Hatcher, he just needs to not make a mistake. This is where he kind of falls apart last time in the one more times. He's made a few errors in the fourth run. So the lights light up. Can he keep it clean? Can he get the job done? Come off the line, Meehan to lead, Hatcher to give chase.
Oh, and into that first corner they go. Hatcher on the chase, and he's very close here. He's playing with fire on that first corner as they transition back. Meehan, look at this. Good line. Hatcher needs to catch a little bit here. He's getting closer and closer. Nice transition again from Stephen Hatcher as they come through the last section of the course. And look at this. Hatcher back up onto the door again. And is this enough? Is this proximity enough? Meehan, though, one last stamp of the gas pedal gets him home and dry again. Very close to me.
Incredible. I can't wait to see a replay of this. Looked like Stephen Hatcher struggled to get proximity from that camera angle, but look at this. Shallows up, mimics the angle. Lovely transition. This is just where he got lost a little bit before. He had a lot more proximity. Transitions before Meehan there on that outside zone, and then waits for the transition, gets the job done, finds the door. Do you know what? That's too close to call this time.
Oh, I don't know. If I was definitely uncertain of the first result, I'm even more uncertain of this result. So yeah, I'm gonna wait for the judges on this one and just not lean one way or the other. I think that was an incredible job from everybody. Just look at that detail; it's crazy of the fuel cell and the tank and everything. Incredible, amazing, in fact. And
it's incredible.
It's just, I mean, the fact that kids, you know, people are online drawing this stuff up and designing it. There you go. Stephen Hatcher gets the win. Goes through to the top four. You'll be happy, Ian. Your boy gets into the top four. And you know what? I think Brandon Meehan definitely did himself proud there. We'll see him in the final anyway, so he's going to be back for revenge. So now we move on to our semi-finals. Alan Hines, Paweł Korpelinski, and Connor Shannon against Stephen Hatcher, who we just saw in competition. I'm excited. Alan Hines, Korpelinski, Are we in the real world or the virtual world? I can't tell.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And you know what? To see three of the Drift Masters European Championship drivers make their way into the final four just goes to show you that a dabble of everything, Dave. A little dabble of real life drifting, real life scenarios, and online drifting and online scenarios, all combined make you like a superhuman drifter.
Yeah, and when you have no ability in both, you end up where me and Ian are, which is commentating and not being out there on the track. Exactly. So here we go. Alan Hines in the lead position, Paweł Korpelinski in the chase position. I'm excited to see which way this one goes down. Alan Hines definitely the favourite here, but Korpelinski bringing all that aggression all the way through from the top 32. He is not going to back down here. And look at Korpelinski from the off, Ian, hunting for blood on the back end of that Pro Drift Academy S15. Into the first corner they go. Korpelinski, look at the proximity. Oh, a little bit of a tap there. Had to settle back, hit the front brake. A little bit of an error from Korpelinski. Maybe going a little. Look at the transitions from Korpelinski. Have you ever seen anything quite like it? He knows how good Hines is. He knows how good he needs to be. And this is absolutely astonishing from Korpelinski.
I mean, wow. What a run from both these guys. Did anyone put a foot wrong? Let's analyse it and take a look back. Incredible initiation from Alan Hines. Korpelinski has to work to get into the outside zone. Oh, there was contact on that transition. Korpelinski gets a little bit too hungry and takes a bite out the back end of that S15. Again, unbelievable transition from Korpelinski, and once again a nice dive onto the door. But Alan Hines' lead is pinpoint perfect.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, both drivers there, that was almost like you put the artificial intelligence on the game together and said, let's make two perfect drift runs. That's what that looked like to me. A little bit of an error from Korpelinski, and I mean minute, but will it count when we finish this run? It could be the only thing. Alan Hines got to go big or go home here if he wants to get to the final.
Exactly that. They come off the line. Look at that. Whoa, wow, incredible initiation from Alan Hines. Korpelinski falls off that outside line, starts to make some errors as he feels the pressure from Alan Hines. Alan Hines takes a little bite at the door, transitions back, waits for him to make the move. Korpelinski shallow on angle, shallows up, makes a mistake again as Alan Hines finds the side of that BMW and starts to tag his wheel onto the door of Korpelinski's BMW.
I mean, can you get any better? Does it get any better? That's kind of what I'm wondering.
The initiation was just...
It's ridiculous. I mean, sometimes, I will say, in the virtual world, I enjoy it more because you can try things that you probably wouldn't chance in the real world. And that's what Alan Hines did there. I mean, this is absolutely astonishing chase driving. And even the fact that he can make enough contact, knowing that the lead car can take that amount of contact, no more, is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So as you can see there, social handles for Alan Hines on his window. That's very cool.
That's very cool.
Product placement there from Alan Hines, as you can see. Knew where the cameras would be. And yeah, these guys. Who's going to the final? It's going to be Alan Hines. Alan Hines is going to the final, and he has made it all the way from the top 32. Got a bye run, top qualifier. Now he's in the final. He'll finish first or second on the podium. And we move on to our second battle. Connor Shanahan, Stephen Hatcher, real world drifter against virtual drifter. S15 versus RX8. You know, Irishman versus, I think Stephen Hatcher is from the UK. I'm not sure. I would apologise if
Canadian.
it's not.
Canadian.
He's Canadian. My mistake. He's Canadian. Kind of like UK back in the day, but more so Canadian right now. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Stephen Hatcher in the lead position. Connor Shanahan in the chase. Ian, here we go. Can Shanahan get himself into the final?
He's got a task on his hands. Stephen Hatcher is not going to mess around. Look at the line from Hatcher. Drops a wheel over the edge of the circuit, but Shanahan is all over the side of that Mazda RX-8. Shanahan bringing the fight right now. He wants to battle Alan Hines. He loses some ground. Shanahan goes a little bit wide there. Has to think about it. Takes some time to reassert himself. Hatcher now starts to pull away. Shanahan doesn't have the proximity as the run is over.
I don't know about no proximity, but I would say he wasn't all over him through the last section, but the initiation, Stephen Hatcher's initiation, I mean, that is 100-point run stuff. He's even going over near the yellow line, getting that progress. Shanahan's transitions are absolutely death-defying. I thought he was going to get caught here. I thought he went a little too aggressive, but you can see the little flash of the front brake, transitions back, the footwork and steering work is incredible from both drivers, but as you can see, a little bit of a shallow transition from Shanahan. Just doesn't allow him to get as close as he'd like. Not a big error though. So much to take from that battle of the ability both of these guys have. But you know what? Maybe on that last corner, a tiny, and I mean a tiny smidgen of hope for Stephen Hatcher if he can get on the door there.
I mean, yeah, you're right, David. If he can get on the door in that final turn, I think this is deal done. He's in the final. Let's see what happens. The light goes out. Shanahan's a lead. Stephen Hatcher to give chase. Little puff of smoke in the air from the back end of that Mazda. Oh, Hatcher right there has a foot brake to avoid contact. How did he even make that one round there? As he transitions bumper to bumper, Stephen Hatcher on the door of Shanahan. Forces Shanahan through the centre of the circuit. Hatcher is not messing around. Shallows up angle once again. Now this is it. Can he find the door of the S15? And he can, Dave. He's there. He's all over Shanahan. He asks the question, have you got what it takes?
Oh, I mean, yes. More proximity on the last corner. First corner, had to make some evasive maneuvers. But he actually got away with it. And that's the best thing. He got away with it. He got the proximity. And the transition is outrageous, Ian. It's an outrageous transition. Like, you don't get away with that kind of stuff. I mean, he threw the kitchen sink at Conor Shanahan here. A little bit of a gap there, but he gets right back on it again. Oh, I don't know. I mean, definitely the more aggressive driver was Stephen Hatcher. I'm going to say that. Was he the cleanest? No. So that's the question. Where does it lie with the judges? Shanahan a little cleaner over the 2 runs. Hatcher a little bit more untidy, not a whole lot, but way more aggression. What way are they going to decide it? It's for a place in the final. Remember, Alan Hines is in there. If Shanahan goes there, then the furthest a virtual drifter can go is 3rd in the 3rd and 4th place playoff. But if Stephen Hatcher gets to that final, then he's done it for the virtual guys. We will have the best of the virtual drivers against the best of the real world drivers in the final. I'm not sure which scenario I would prefer, but right now, I don't know. I think that's a close one. I think that's a very close one.
It's incredibly close, Dave.
I don't know if the judges can sit on the fence on this one. I'm not sure. I mean, I think if you think about it, you've got to reward the aggression, or you've got to weigh in on that and say, is that worth it, or was the consistency what you were looking for? I think it's kind of 2 very different styles.
Yeah, I'm team Stephen Hatcher. I'm not going to lie. I'm good friends with Conor Shanahan, known him a very, very long time, but that was just outrageous from Stephen Hatcher.
I think the transition in front of the grandstand was outrageous. Like you do no right to get away with that kind of stuff. I also don't think you can do anything more. I don't think you can do anything more to win the battle. I mean, you've almost crashed 3 or 4 times on the transitions. That's pretty much as close as you can get. So let's see which way the judges go. I mean, from my perspective right now, it's very, very close. It's either going to be the consistency of Shanahan and the line, or the aggression of Hatcher. Which way are they going to go? One is going one more time. And Conor Shanahan got one of the calls, but it was a split decision, and they're going back at it again. Not a bad call, because, as I said, lots of consistency from Shanahan, flashes of brilliance from Hatcher, probably balanced each other out there. As I said, I didn't want to see the judges sit on the fence, but they did sit on the fence, and they went one more time. So,
yeah,
who am I to say? Who am I to say?
I think they need, someone to make a mistake. Do you know Stephen Hatcher had a clean battle without doing a one more time yet? I think Stephen Hatcher's had a one more time every single battle so far.
I think at this point in time, Stephen Hatcher is getting track time above everybody else. I mean, at this point, I feel like Stephen Hatcher has been in every battle we've watched, because he's been in so many one more times. And I think the reason for that is that he's giving you those flashes of brilliance, but then he's making some little errors as well, so it's balancing out. I personally like a driver like that just pushes to the edge. He's quite a Chelsea Denofa character, Could work out, might not work out. Conor Shanahan is clinical, he's a stone cold killer, but I think he's going to have to push a little bit harder here.
He certainly has. I think Shanahan can't leave anything to play here as he makes a big dive. And look at Hatcher once again. Perfect on the outside line. Hatcher on the line, but how did Shanahan get away with that transition? Oh, and contact from Shanahan as he tags Hatcher. Hatcher gets himself into the wall, up on that perfect outside line. This time Shanahan has the proximity, pushes Hatcher across the line.
I was about to say that Shanahan had a very Hatcher-esque chase run there. Very aggressive, making a bit of contact, throwing in big. That was much stronger from Conor Shanahan. Well, in aggression's sake anyway, throughout the rest of the course. He has great proximity throughout he pushes in, he surges in. A little bit of contact there. That is an error, but it doesn't seem to affect Stephen Hatcher. It doesn't really seem to affect Conor Shanahan. So I don't think that'll be weighed on too heavily. It is a mistake, but at the sacrifice of being so close throughout the run, you could probably accept that.
Exactly that. Again, a very, very close call, a very close battle. This is getting hard, Dave. I thought this was easy.
What does Stephen Hatcher have to do? I think Stephen Hatcher has to do a loop-de-loop or something here now, because he's done it all throughout the night. So let's see what he can do here. Can he get into the final? Into the first corner they go. Hatcher a little bit more conservative on his initiation there, trying to stay as close as he can to Shanahan as they transition back. Proximity not as great here, Ian.
No, Hatcher's starting to fall apart now, Dave, as Shanahan makes his way into the outside zone. A big wobble there from Hatcher as he looks from the side of the S15. Oh, and Shanahan wrecks.
Shanahan just smashed into the wall out of nowhere.
And Shanahan just literally threw the whole thing away.
I cannot believe what my eyes are seeing. I mean, he had that in the
Look
bag.
at the replay. What happened? And there was no faults from Stephen Hatcher even. It was completely independent. And Hatcher really was throwing this one away, left, right, and centre. Lack of proximity, not really in it. Finds himself gaining proximity, then loses a whole load here. Shanahan accelerates away, and then glitches and wrecks.
Yeah, that was a big hit from both cars. I think they'll both drive out of it though, Ian. Hey.
They'll be fine.
I think they'll be okay.
Just escape back to the pits and yeah.
I mean, on first viewing, it would appear to me that Stephen Hatcher is going to win this. I didn't see anything really too untoward about anything he did. I mean, yeah, let's see what happens. What do you think, Ian? I think that was fairly cut and dry. Didn't look like Shanahan had any contact there.
No, yeah, I was just thinking about it, trying to go over it in my head. And
well, there you have it. Stephen Hatcher is going through to the final to face Alan Hines, meaning that it will be Paweł Korpolinski to go against Conor Shannon for third step on the podium, and Hines and Hatcher, to be fair, two standout stars of the whole evening, in my opinion. Hatcher and Hines will go into the final, and wow, will there be fireworks there.
There certainly is. And just having a look at the comments there, Dave. A lot of guys online agreeing with me for once. Just going to get that in there before you do. A lot of guys who I know, online drifters, saying it looked like lag. It looked like Shanahan's set up lagged and put him into the wall.
Well, I think from my perspective at this point now, I mean, Korpolinski and Shanahan, there's a little grudge there, Ian. There's a little bit there, you know. These guys want a trophy. They want to go home with nothing here. I mean, there's one trophy left for them, third place, two very capable drivers. Korpolinski probably, you know, went out more in a harsher way. He made a couple of mistakes, but he was very aggressive. Shanahan had a massive wreck, so I wonder, is there an issue with his connection or something? I'm not sure, but it seems like all's okay. They're off the line. Shanahan will lead Korpolinski's for third step on the podium. Here we go.
Here we go, Dave. Nice initiation from both those guys. Korpolinski mimics the initiation from Shanahan. He looks for the side of the S15. Very tidy job from Korpolinski. Look at Korpolinski, no messing around, as he once again makes that depth-defying transition. And Shanahan, no messing around this time. Shallows up ever so slightly, gets himself onto the wall, but there is no shaking Korpolinski. He is there for the run.
No, that's a very strong run for Korpolinski. I think he's definitely taken the advantage from that run. I thought he was going to make more contact when they came back towards the large wall at the end, but I don't know how he got away with it, but he got away with it. These transitions are inch perfect. Shanahan's lead run, take nothing away from it though, absolutely perfect in the outer zones. But watch this towards the wall as Korpolinski, I thought there was going to be contact just as they transition here. I thought, you know, it was going to be there. He somehow got away with it and stayed on the door. That's probably the most fluid transition onto the door we've seen all night, so I think that's going to be rewarded by the judges. Now, heavy pressure on Conor Shanahan to not go home with nothing tonight and finish up in fourth position. So Korpolinski in the lead, Shanahan in the chase, and Shanahan's got to take risks here.
He certainly has, Dave. He's got to go for it. There's no messing around. That chase from Korpolinski was just textbook. Nice flick initiation. Oh, and Shanahan does reply with the answer. Look at this. Shanahan finds aside that BMW 2 Series. Shanahan looking for Korpolinski. Shallows up the angle. Very shallow indeed through that centre of the circuit. Korpolinski dials on the angle over the bump. Onto the wall we go. Shanahan brakes and gets himself into the mix as he shallows up and now mimics the angle of Korpolinski across the line.
We're back in this situation again, Ian. It's very hard to call. I mean, I was about to say there's not much more you can do, and then that initiation from Conor Shannon was absolutely sensational. Yes, I mean, he pushed the whole way around the circuit. I mean, Korpolinski's line, maybe not as wide as Shanahan's in the lead. And, you know, Shanahan was right there the whole way through the course. Look at this. If I said Korpolinski's was sensational, that was out of this world. Pushing the Polish driver across the line. I mean, I think if you look at it for face value, I'm nearly back on Shanahan now, saying that the initiation for me in that first corner was closer than Korpolinski was to Shanahan.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree there with you, Dave. And once again, we're in the situation where I wouldn't want to judge it. I wouldn't want to be the guy who doesn't give one of these guys third place, because it's just incredible driving from both of them. Korpolinski was so good in the lead and the chase, but as you said, Shanahan's initiation on the first half of that run in the chase was just unbelievable.
I think that was the riskiest move of the whole 2 runs, and he got away with it. So it should be rewarded, but then it's very close. And I think, in a time when one more time seemed to be just going into fashion in the last little while, we don't be surprised if we see it one more time here. But I think I might just pip Conor Shanahan for that initiation and the proximity. Korpolinski, I didn't think would be beaten up until halfway through the battle. I thought he had it. I didn't think Shanahan would have the answer, but he did. So let's see which way the judges go. It is going to be split decision, but Conor Shanahan gets the win and gets 3rd place on the podium. We have got a podium position decided, and 3rd place, Conor Shanahan will take home the trophy. Pavel Korpolinski will take 4th in the first round of the Drift Masters Virtual Championship, and that leaves us with what, Ian? The final. The
final, Dave. And what a final it is. It's going to be a Drift Masters Championship driver to take on a virtual driver. Alan Hines to take on Stephen Hatcher. What a matchup.
I'll put it this way. I am very excited to see what happens here, because Stephen Hatcher's sort of been the underdog all the way through today, and he's still here. He's not going anywhere, and he's in the final with Alan Hines. Now, I will say Alan Hines has put in no mistakes. He is definitely a worthy winner. But Stephen Hatcher coming in here, he's liable to pull off anything. That's what I love about him. He just goes out there, throws caution to the wind. But he's got to throw caution to the wind here now, as he's got to go into that first corner right on Alan Hines' door, because he will expect the same. It's the final of the first round of the Drift Masters Virtual Championship. Hines and Hatcher, here we go. Oh, Hatcher's off the track.
Oh! Hatcher knew he had to bring it, Dave. He knew what he had to do, and the only thing he could do was come second, and he threw everything into that. Alan Hines just drives away with that perfect lead line, and Hatcher puts it into the wall.
I mean, we said it, he was going to have to do something special. He just pushed too hard. Once that back wheel hit the grass, it was game over. He had no grip. Like, he initiated perfect, just a little wobble, and then, oh no. And you'll feel that in the wheel. He'll just say, oh, I've got it. And to go to the final and just, almost go off at the first corner, it's harsh, right?
Oh, it's just, I mean, I feel so bad for the guy.
I mean, we still have second half of this battle to go. Anything can happen. If you watch what happened to Conor Shanahan in his battle, we would have, put all our house and money on him to win the battle, and he crashed into the wall. So anything can still happen. Sometimes the virtual world is even more unpredictable than the real world.
It would seem that way, Dave. Well, they're on the line. Stephen Hatcher now to lead out. Alan Hines. There's still one more run of this to do. It's not all over just yet until they finish the run. Hatcher to lead. Hatcher is going to go for it as he smokes the tyres on the back of the RX-8. Big flick initiation. But look, Alan Hines glued to the side of the RX-8 as he comes through the smoke. A little tag. Now Alan Hines puts himself in a dangerous position. Hatcher holds on to it, dropping wheels off the edge of the circuit. The final is everything we expected it to be. Fireworks as well. As Hatcher gets into the wall, Hines looks to the side of that Master RX-8 one more time, and across the line they go.
Yeah, I think it just about stayed together there. That's what I would say. I mean, Hatcher was absolutely... He actually kicked the clutch in like 4th or 5th and just fired it in, hoping to upset Hines. Hines, when the transition here, it looks like contact.
Hines hit him.
It looks like contact, and then again, he does stay in it though, Hatcher. So the judges will look at that, but he does stay in it and complete the rest of the course. Maybe a disadvantage to Hines, but maybe not enough to overturn the off track on the first run. I think it's still going to be a very win for Alan Hines, but at the same time, we got some celebratory donuts going on. You can see the virtual crowd going wild up there, Ian, in the stands. Absolutely loving the action here in Riga. We hope you guys have enjoyed the action too. It's been a really fun evening. Yes, we are waiting on those big announcements to come. the calendar for the 2021 Drift Masters European Championship. But until then, this is going to give us our fix. This is going to give us our adrenaline rush. And this is going to give us some winners. And who is the winner of round 1 of the Drift Masters Virtual Championship? No surprise there. Alan Hines takes the win. 2nd place for Stephen Hatcher. 3rd for Connor Shannon. And 4th place for Paweł Korpelinski. It sounds like I'm commentating on a real round, Ian, except Stephen Hatcher just threw himself in there in the mix. It's been an awesome evening. We've had so much fun. Great to see smoke again, action again. Yes, we can't smell it. Yes, we can't feel it. But we can still enjoy it. We can still enjoy the competitive nature of this championship. And remember, 8 drivers from this round, the top 8 virtual drivers, will go through to the final. They'll be at round 5. And I'm telling you right now, I'm excited for our 2nd round of this championship. It's on the 13th of February, not far away. 2 weeks away, we are back. New track, new drivers, and probably more of the same amazing, crazy action we've watched. You can see the drivers are just going absolutely bananas now and throwing in. Stephen Hatcher, someone's going to have to unplug him from the computer at some point. Big entry from Stephen Hatcher. And, you know, I've been enjoying this guy. He's a real star tonight. I think the other drivers are very well known. I think Stephen Hatcher's made a name for himself tonight. I think he's been a really entertaining driver to watch. He's also made RX-8 cool again. So, you know, we can give him the props for that. Thank you guys so much for watching. We've had an absolute blast doing it. Ian, I've enjoyed it. You've enjoyed it. We've been hyped the whole way through. We hope you guys at home have had a good evening, enjoyed it. We want to see you back again for the next one on the 13th of February. And a brand new bunch of drivers, Ian. A whole bunch of new names to figure out who they are, how good they are, and maybe find another Stephen Hatcher.
Yeah, I can't wait, Dave. I've totally enjoyed tonight. It's been incredible. We've seen some really good drifting, some accidents. Lag. Who would have thought that lag would have been a thing in drifting? But it certainly is now. Incredible round. I can't wait until February 13th to kick off round 2.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm more afraid of turbo lag or internet lag. I'm not sure which more I'm afraid of. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been Dave Egan. This right here is Ian Waddington, and we've had a great time talking you through all the action. We'll see you at round 2 of the Drift Masters Virtual Championship on February 13th. Once again, congratulations to Alan Hine in the 1st place. He is your winner. 2nd place was Stephen Hatcher. 3rd for Connor Shannon. 4th for Paweł Korpelinski. Until then, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.